Welcome back to Divekick Infinite. This is your host again, Thanos PKC, and today we'll be discussing the Baz. Let's jump right into it. We got a ton to cover today. Alright, hopefully my game loads here. There you go. Alright, so this is the Baz, and we're going to go ahead and select him. And one of the things that we're going to do today is we're going to go dive gem. I believe that this is probably a gem you should go for. Normally I do kick gem, but for the Baz, it's a little bit special. Just like always, we're going to go over the normals first. Take a look at both jumps, the jump, the kickback, and the kick. It's good to know that the Baz is actually a double kick character, which means he has 2 kicks per jump. So this is the neutral. It goes pretty high and quick. The dive gem adding to that. And let's see his kick. That's his swing kick. He has 2 of them. And this is his kickback. So let's see that kickback one more time. It goes somewhat high, but it doesn't travel backwards that fast. The main thing about Baz is he has 2 kicks in the air, and they're swing kicks. And the thing you can do with your swing kick is that you can hold K to get a longer rope. That'll give you a longer kick, or I should say a kick with a larger radius. And as you kind of saw me do already, you can actually let go of rope to basically cancel your swing by pressing dive. Here I'll do it a quick let go halfway, let go during the bottom. You'll keep that momentum after you let go of the rope, but if you don't let go, you'll let go right at the edge of the rope. It'll swing kind of like a full half circle, just a little bit more, and then you'll let go at the top. There is some side bias to this. I'll kind of show you what it looks like right now. So this one here, you'll notice that he does like a little loop where he kind of leans to the back, or leans to the left, I should say. Let's do that again. Yeah, if you're on the other side, he leans to the left and he doesn't go back towards the right. So whichever way you kick, you're going to see, if you let a full swing happen, you're going to see a lean to the left as he lands. That may or may not be useful depending on what side you're on and what the situation is, but it's just something to know if you end up doing a full kick. Alright, let's see. If you swing too low, you'll tend to land. Oops, that's Kickfactor there. But if you swing too low where your butt actually hits the ground, you'll end up just landing and not continue your kick. So let's show what that looks like. So that's a full swing. I'm above the ground. But if I go any lower than that, I'll just land. So yeah, sometimes if you don't aim it right, you won't swing through and you'll just hit the ground. That one looked like it was low, but not too low. Oh, I just realized you just don't have audio on the game. 1 second. Alright, let's try that again. Alright, that should be okay. Let me turn it down just a little bit. But that should be audio on the game now. Alright, let's talk about the swing kick. What's cool about the Baz normals is there is some autoface involved, and what autoface means is if you're on the other side and you let go of rope, you'll turn to face the character in the air. So then you can swing back the same way you came. If you let go of the rope, that means you intentionally cancel your swing before you're past the other character. It won't turn you around. So you have to actually let go of the rope on the other side of the other character in order to get that turn face. Now I turned around. If you basically let go on the side where you're still facing them, if your momentum carries you over, you won't get an auto face after you pass. It'll only be right when you let go of the rope. So let's try that again. So there it is. I won't turn around because I'm letting go before. let go after, you'll get that turnaround. And you can set up headshots like that. So you'll want to get your timing for right when you cross the other player's core. That way you can you can get that you can get bad to auto face, and then you can aim another kick at their head. Let's see. Hold kick to extend, letting go of rope, swing left, swing too low, cancel. Oh, you can use this cancel to build meter. So basically just jump, low, cancel, and just you can do 2 kicks per jump, so you can build 2 kicks per small jump. Of course, the faster you do this, sometimes it's hard to control. Oops, you can see me accidentally doing specials there. All of these mechanics that have to do with his kick allow him kind of special movements. Most characters, like in Dive, kind of just have fast movement right from the get-go, and it stays fast. With Baz, kind of starts slow, and then it speeds up as you charge your rope. So, you know, as the rope goes further, that travel time of that swing is the same travel time as this, except it just travels farther. That's why it looks faster. But this right here and this take the same amount of time for him to complete a full swing. But what you can do as Baz is you can fling yourself using the momentum by letting go of the rope to the other side of the screen. Just by controlling when you let go of the rope, you can control the arc and the speed at which Baz is flung, and you can use that to kind of like inch forward. So I'll show what inching forward with the Baz looks like. This takes time, so you're gonna have to do a jump into the air, and then you're gonna have to like control your rope, and then you kind of have to let go just right as you start swinging to kind of move forward just little by little. You can just not move forward, or you can move back like that. But you can also move forward as much as you want. It just takes a little while to get that wind up rope. You can also use the rope swings to bait people into trying to punish your landing, because a full swing there and a full swing there like allows you to delay yourself in the air, just like other characters who have, you know, the power to delay themselves. The Baz gets that with just his normal kicks. You'll want to, if you're ever going to play the Baz, you'll want to get used to kind of the buttons of letting go and not always landing straight down, because this is how you kind of get caught. If you you can always like end up just letting go and pushing yourself more towards the edge of the screen where you can't just be caught. Your landing just can't be caught. Alright, I think it's time to go to specials. Now, Baz's air special is called Bazkosin, I think. I always say Bazookin sometimes, but it's called Bazkosin. Or let's talk about his ground special first. His ground special is called the Shocker, and a little bit simpler, so I figure we'll go through it first because his air special is pretty involved. So let's go ahead and, whoops, build some meter. Hopefully not accidentally using any of it. Alright, let's take a look at the Shocker. So that's the Shocker right there. A little lightning from above hits him, and then he becomes invincible for about almost a second. Not a quite full second, but almost a second. So I'll show you if someone tries to kick into that. You'll notice that Dive will die if he kicks into the Baz while the Baz has that electric shield. Not only that, the electric above him can also hit a character above him. So, whoops. Let's go have, I'll have Dive jump here. There you go. So basically I hit Dive with the lightning above me. And that can be used to attack characters who kind of just cross the Baz up or cross over the Baz. can be a tool. There is a bit of startup, so if you're trying to use it as like a parry, oops, you'll notice that sometimes it won't be fast enough, so it might work against the slower kickers, but anybody who's fast, you might not be able to get the lightning to hit you in time. Yeah, see, I can't get the lightning to cover my body before Dive's attack comes in. So you want to be careful when you're using it. Focus on using it as an emergent tool rather than a parry. Let me take a look at my notes to see if there's anything else. Oh, you can use it to defend line as well. So, as the time's coming down, you can just sit in the middle of the line, and as time goes down to 1, right when it hits 0 is probably the time to hit it, because the 0 lasts for about a full second, and by the time you press it, I think it should last the whole time. Hopefully you can not get hit before that happens. Also, if you're overlapping, you can just use it to hit them straight up, because the lightning that comes from above not only hits above, but it hits the ground too, so it's, a full vertical lightning strike. Alright, now back to his air special.
Yes, from above.
Oh, I should note that the ground special takes about 9 kicks to 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9, yeah, 9 kicks to get your ground special. There is like a slight defect in Baz's meter building. Let me see if I can kind of show what it looks like. Of course I can't. I'm trying to empty my meter, but I'll just have Dive knock me in the head to make me concussed. I can start from true 0 meter. But if you watch the meter build closely on the lower left of Baz, you'll kind of notice that when I do my first kick, it'll get me like 2 kicks a meter. It's pretty quick, but that's about 1 kick a meter, so it takes about like 7 kicks, but actually takes 7 kicks a meter, but since you get double meter on the first one, it only takes 6 kicks to get to your special. But then if you try to build to your second one, you'll notice that it'll take another 7 kicks. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I only did 12 kicks total. So I should be able to theoretically do both, but I'll still need 1 more kick. So notice I'm just shy for my second air special. Anyway, it's just something to note, and that's a good way to see the special. So as you can see, the Baz kind of rushes forward, and then after he lands, he leaves lightning. I'll kind of explain this a little bit more, but let's go over some of the just the mechanics of how to do it. So while you're in the air, you can do this from a swing kick, and if you're doing it from a swing kick, it'll auto face. If you're doing it from a fling, it won't auto face. So if you want it to face your opponent, make sure that you time it right after a while you're doing a swing kick. Don't cancel. If you cancel and you're past them already, you'll turn around just from the cancel. Then you can face it the other way. But if you let go beforehand, whoops. Notice that you'll face the other way, so just be wary of where you're facing when you're trying to do Bazkosen. You can change the angle when you activate by, instead of just pressing D plus K, you can hold it. This is the maximum angle. Notice that it kind of tilts up a little bit, and it kind of allows you to get out of. You don't feel safe. You can kind of get out of the corner using it. You can think of this move as very good as an attack or as an escape, because it allows the Baz to travel pretty quickly from one place to the next. And it starts off with a low angle. So let's take a look what that looks like. Oops. So it kind of starts off with an angle like that, and as you do the turning radius, I think you can go all the way up to this angle. So whenever you're using it, this angle right here takes more time, and this one is faster. So the further an opponent is from you, then the longer the time will be to actually aim your kick at them or aim your air special at them. So usually when you use it up close, it's a lot faster, so it's harder to react to. If they're standing far away, they can actually see you turning and they can react to it. And it's a good time to talk about when you actually have a hit or a kick box and where your hurt boxes are during this attack. So right now, you can kind of see Baz right here. He's all hurt box. There is no kick box. There's no active attack in this move until the lightning shows up. So when Baz hurls himself, he's basically vulnerable the whole time, and you can hit him and his head during this. And then after he lands, either he lands or let's say you did it across, he'll go into like a falling motion. So he'll kind of be like turned like this. But as soon as he goes into his falling motion, I think either about 9 or 10 frames after that, whether he's landing or in his falling motion, a lightning will show up. And that lightning then has a hitbox, and that'll be around for a quick instant, maybe 7 frames or something like that. So let's kind of see what that looks like in the game. Alright, so let's build up. Turning. There's that lightning that actually gets the hit. But I didn't, I passed them up, but I did not kick them at all because there is no kickbox when you pass them up. That one, the lightning was above the head. That one hit them in the legs. Alright, let's look for any other notes on air special. Auto change angle. Auto face, yes, we went over that. Using Aura's movement attack, yep, I think we went over most of it. I do want to stress that while you're trying to build a meter and if you're pressing buttons really fast, you might trigger the air special. So just be careful and try not to press your buttons too fast when you're trying to build a meter. Or at least be in control when you can. That wasn't exactly accidental one there. You can do the Baz Kosin off of no kicks during your kick, during a fling. Basically anytime that you're in there you can do a Baz Kosin. But if you want to be in control of where you're aiming it, just be sure to understand the turnaround rules. So the turnaround rules one more time is if you start Baz Kosin on the other side, it'll auto face if you're doing it from a swing kick. If you're doing it from a fling where you let go, then on the opposite side, or on the side you start originally, then your momentum will push you past them and you won't have a chance to auto face at that point. You could tap your swing kick one time. That way it'll kind of make you auto face when you go into your swing and then do your Baz Kosin. Let me see if I can. Oops. I don't know if I showed that perfect. Let me try it one more time. Basically what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to fling from this side to the other side so I'm facing the other way. Yeah, so that's going the wrong way. I want to do it the right way this time by doing my second kick first. Oops. Alright, I'll try that one more time. There you go. So I flashed my kick just so it auto faces me, and then I did my Baz Kosin. Alright, let's talk about Kickfactor. Kickfactor for the Baz is almost like everyone else, and it just gives you extra speed, which means you get extra kick speed and extra velocity on your jump as well. So you end up jumping higher, and this time between the swing kick is actually less. You spend less time, and so what that translates to is you kick faster, because from getting from one edge of the rope in a full swing to the other side, you do that in less time, which means you just go faster through that kick. The rope, putting out that rope doesn't change, so you know, however long you hold it, it won't be faster when you have Kickfactor. Only the kick speed will be faster, and then the jump speeds for jumping up and jumping back will be faster. But yeah, pretty simple Kickfactor. I think that most of the time the Baz would rather have the specials rather than have Kickfactor, since the Kickfactor doesn't add too much. Because, you know, when you do get Kickfactor, your meter will drain, and the more time you spend without the ability to do that air special, the worse it is for Baz. I think that's all down in Kickfactor. There's not much else to say. Alright, let's go into common offense. So, the main attack for the Baz is basically swing kicks into his air special. Just like pretty much everyone else in the game, you kind of want to get into this power position of right in front and above the opponent. So that's going to be right here. And so the goal is, being right here kind of sets up a few things. You can swing and then let go and do a swing here. You can let yourself fall and do a swing for their head. Oops. You can do a fake kick up here and then drop and do a kick right here at their head. And then after, you know, all those different options, you can also just kind of swing over them and then swing over them again if they do a kickback to try to chase the kickback. And that's not even covering options when you have your air special. When you do have your air special, the two trajectories you're looking at for like laying down lightning are basically you want to go across and above the head, or you want to go through them. This will cover them from the first one. It'll cover them from jumping up or back sometimes, and the second one will hit them if they just stand. And sometimes that can also cover them jumping if they jump too late as well. And I guess what you're trying to do is you're trying to get that mix up of, if I swing kick and you jump into it, you're going to get hit. But if you just stand there and I do a lightning, you're going to get hit too. And sometimes you don't want to commit to that swing kick, and you'll want to see them, sometimes you'll see them jump back early. At that point, you can hold on to your special and then try to rotate and hit them as they're moving backwards. Hopefully you can get underneath their kick angle, and you can just kind of just sail through their body and get that lightning to cross their body as they do a kickback. But being in that position where you're in front and above them gives you a lot of options. You can also set up an attack with less options just by using your two kicks to kind of get to this first point, and then now you have one kick and your air special to set up an attack. I'll try to show that particular movement, and then I'll show the movement for the setup where you have two kicks in that position. So let me unpause it here. Oh, it's a little yellow there. All right, got it. All right, so enough meter. All right, so if you want to come over here, you can cross them up. You can also cross above them, and if they can possibly jump into the lightning. But let me set it up so you can see the lightning above.
Yes, from above. Round one.
Alright. That's me letting go a little too early. Alright. So that would be a slash above them. That would be another slash above them as well. Except you're going to the other side. And let me just pause it. Let me see if I can pause it at the right time to kind of show you why this is a strong move. Okay. So the reason why this this particular lightning is pretty strong is because you start from this side and the opponent is facing this way, and when you cut across for them to turn around and attack you, it's a very, very small window. And then if they don't get there in time, if they don't hit that, they will end up jumping up into the lightning. And so it kind of covers a counterattack, a slow counterattack. If they attack early, they'll end up kicking this way instead because of the fact that they'll be facing that way because you hadn't crossed them up. So the window to actually hit you as you're crossing them up is very, very small. And so this attack can be very good if you can aim it at the right spot. Now, I think that Dive here is not going to get hit, but his head kind of looks in the lightning. I don't know. We'll see when we unpause. But you can try to do this where you're either here in front, a little bit further away, or right on top of them. But if you're right on top of them, you'll actually have more chance of killing them because they'll hit them even if they don't jump. But if they do jump early, then you might have a problem because they'll be above the lightning. And so it's up to you to kind of mix up the height and angle of your slash. But I just wanted to emphasize that crossing them up with the slash can be a safer move than just trying to hit them outright. And the reason that is because if, let's say, you were trying to aim a slash from here, like at the lower end of the foot, if they were trying to react to you with a KK where they jump back and they kick, they can actually hit you as you're landing. You're going to be right here before you jump up, and your lightning is going to show up here. So if they react well, they're going to kick you, and that gives them a little bit more leeway than this other position. All right. Let's go back to the game. I can kind of show other movements in. Oops. Trying to get a turnaround here. Oh, but keep messing up my buttons. My Baz is okay, but I don't play him regularly, so it's gonna be. I'm gonna drop my buttons here and there. If you do want to play Baz, you'll want to get used to understanding how to get that turnaround.
Singular Matrix.
But instead of doing turnaround kick, you can also do the turnaround lightning. That was just me showing kind of different heights and doing a cross-up.
Fraud detection warning. Fraud detection warning.
I'll kind of show, you know, if they end up doing a kickback, how to aim for them by holding on to the angle turn. So that's if they kick back towards this position, you can try to twirl, twist and turn to the edge. I guess I can show the two kick entrance. That's basically you're far away and you're using your first kick to set you up into a position instead of like trying to get here and then doing a jump to get into that attack position. Let's say that you wanted to start your attack from back here. You can use your first jump to get in, and then use your second jump to kind of set that attack up. It doesn't give you the option to do a turnaround like this because you've already used your second kick, but it allows you to attack from pretty far away pretty safely. And if you ever get into trouble where you feel like it's not the right time to come in for an attack, you can always try to use as cosine to escape.
This from above. Round 1.
Let's fill that meter a little bit. Let's say I came in here and then I'm like, no, I'm out of here. know, if it can be used as an escape tool, so don't forget to, if you're as common offense, you have built-in defense as well, as long as you have meter for that air special. All right, let's see if there's anything else in common offense that I wanted to cover. Okay. Along with, whoops, sorry about that. Along with doing your normals, you can also try to bait them into kicking into you. So as you're in the air, if they're trying to kick you, you can just use your air special to get out of the way, and they'll kick into the lightning. It's gonna be hard to show with just myself because it's probably better to kind of set that up where someone's jumping, and you can use your air special to kind of just move out the way and leave lightning for them for them to kick. But you can also just do that by delaying your second kick and then kicking them. So the Baz has two ways to bait people who are a bit aggressive and attacking Baz when he still has options. Now, the Baz can also use lightning in a way to kind of either attack or go underneath a neutral jumping enemy. So let's set this up here. Okay, let's say you're in this position where you're both up in the air. Baz can use kind of his ropes to kind of delay the time he's up here, and then as Dive falls down, you can aim a lightning at or above his head, or you can just aim a rope so that you can time a swing so that it hits them on the landing from a swing. So that's a possible move where you can just aim your lightning to punish their empty jump, or you can use your second kick depending on the timing. Another thing you can do is, instead of trying to hit them on the landing, you can just go ahead and preemptively lightning down, hit the ground, and then jump up and try to kick them from behind. Sometimes it's fast enough, and when you do your instant kick out of your jump, it comes out kind of like with your feet out, and so you'll have a hitbox pretty quickly, and you don't have to like hold your rope if they're right next to you, because the only time you have to hold your rope is if you want to go further. But if you're right next to them, then you should be able to just do a quick kick. So just look for these types of opportunities where you can mix up whether you're going to go behind them or you're going to try to go for their landing, or how long you're going to be in the air. And the last thing is YOLO kicks and YOLO swing kicks and YOLO electrics. So all that means is sometimes if you're mixing them up, you can just go for a big kick. If you notice that they're in a position where you can just kick, just let go of your kick, and it's usually pretty quick and it'll catch them. Obviously, you're doing it from very far away. It might not connect if they're paying attention, but just know that it is an option where you can kind of just let that second kick go. And if they get hit by a few of these, then they'll start to get wary, and they'll start trying to counterattack you, even though you aren't really going in for the kick, and then you can use your second kick to punish them for that. So you could throw these in to basically make them and see what they do if they try to react to kill it or not. And the other one is just doing your lightning far away. This is more reactable than the close lightning, but it can be a good tool in your toolbox. And I know that this particular move, AxemJinx uses a lot, and I think this is a good time to bring him in because we do have him here today to guest speak about Baz. Axem, are you there?
Yes, hello.
Hey, if you can give a quick introduction to yourself, and then we can go into the discussion.
Sure. Well, for the vets, I guess the thing I'm most known for is playing Baz in the Divekick Dailies, which was a weekly tournament that ran for maybe the first few years after the game's initial Steam release. Although if you're newer, maybe you have seen me in the current tournament series we've been doing for Divekick Infinite. Still playing Baz. I guess I'm trying to bear the torch because there aren't that many of us uh, active Baz players remaining. So
Well, thank you for carrying that torch. I do know that we did have a couple players earlier, but Axem has definitely had the best results lately. He's won our last 3 tournaments, and he's continued to be, the one to beat right now. Hopefully, we can have people show up and give him a challenge. But today, he's going to kind of show you the ins and outs of the character, or actually, he's going to question my ins and outs of the character, and then we're going to see what he can bring to the table. Of all the things I said, I know it was a lot. Let me kind of sum it up again. The basic attack involves swing, swing, air special, kind of from that power position when you're above them. It kind of provides all the options where you can do 2 swings into a turnaround or slashes above with a choice to chase a kickback. That's 1. 2 is air baiting. That means like using your swing kicks to basically bait them into you and using your either second kick or your lightning to basically attack them for coming in at the wrong time. And the third one is using your swing movement or your air special movement to kind of get behind them and hit them with a quick kick. Any thoughts or things to add or disagree?
I think I agree with all those. There's always a lot to cover with Baz because he's the polar opposite of a character like Dive or Kung Pao, who are more like fundamentals characters. So they have fewer movement options, but they're strong options, and you're more concerned with the minutia of how exactly do I time or space this. But with Baz, I guess you could argue it counts also as general fighting game advice, but you really want to make the most varied use of his many options as you can, so you can keep the opponent guessing as to which approach you're going to take. The more times you can make them guess, the more times they might guess incorrectly. And you can use this to your advantage, crossing them up at the right angle with an air special, or extending a rope at the right time, or delaying a rope at the right time. There are a lot of different things.
Are there any
Uh,
like particular? So I mentioned a slash angle. So let me pause it with dive kind of in the center here. So I mentioned a slash option, kind of. You want to go above or through them, kind of like this or like this. Like, do you see like what are other ways you can paint a strong lightning, or do you feel like it it always depends on the situation, or there's no like obvious ones?
that's the tricky thing. Like depending on the character matchup and how their kick works, the exact spacing is something you might have to internalize after practicing against a lot of different matchups.
Hmm.
But I think you covered the basic categories where you're either trying to overlap them directly or trying to anticipate where they're going to go and place place one in anticipation, like further beyond them, thinking they might like try to punish you by jumping and kicking in. Uh,
Okay.
I'd say those are like the 2 basic categories, but there is a lot of variation based on character matchups and stuff.
Let me think of. I know that like even when I was doing it, my turnarounds were horrible. How do you perform your turnaround so smoothly?
Um, I guess you have to get a sense of where Baz's center line is when he's in the middle of a kick, and if you can measure that against where the character is standing, then you can kind of dismount like just beyond that. Um, I'm actually not sure if I could draw it on command if I had to swing in front of me. So
Uh-huh.
maybe that would be a good thing to test. But if you can mentally draw that vertical line, that's like where Baz's actual median line is when he's in his kick animation here.
All right. Do you think it's
Uh,
is it like toward his butt area or like his thigh area? So let's draw a few lines here, and is it closer to 1, 2, 3, or 4?
it's funny because like I do it so intuitively at this point that I'll
uh,
probably be incorrect.
oh,
I'd
fair
probably
enough.
say I'd probably say it's around like the thigh or butt area, so
Okay, so
probably 2 or 3.
so somewhere between 2 or
Uh,
3. So
Probably somewhere around there.
okay, okay. I mean, that's something. That's at least ballpark, because I mean, some people might think you have to get, the back totally passed when all you have to do is make sure your abs are, on the other side.
Yeah, I don't think you have to get the entire sprite pass, but you could always go into practice mode and just try to test where this line actually is. And yeah, I think this comes down to practice. Baz involves a lot of button presses, so
Yeah, yeah.
uh,
Extra practice definitely won't hurt when you're pressing so many buttons. um, so I mentioned not using Kickfactor here. I think that the Baz has so much with his air special that it's better to have air special always available than to be in a position where you might drain all your meter.
mm,
Um, just because I'm not sure the kick speed or the jump speed will help you that much, and that's mainly because you kind of can control your speed, and it's not like you have a very fast quick attack. Most characters like Dive, when he has his kick factor, his attack is pretty fast right when it starts and all the way through till it ends. But since I talked about Baz being like a build up kick, where the further away you are, you kind of have to um, almost charge your kick, I guess you could say, before you can actually get it to be fast. And kick factor doesn't really help you with that. Like, it doesn't give you like an instant kick like Jafali's boom kicks. So it's something that I think that it's not worth seeing your meter drain, but I'm wondering, like, do you have uses for it, or what's your overall thoughts about kick factor?
I mean, it might just be the bias of my playstyle, but my usual approach is almost never use it.
Okay.
There are times when I'm close to activating it, and I'll just use an air special to dip my meter a bit, uh, so that I can keep it. So I can keep a high amount of meter, but not trigger kick factor, because Baz is one of the few characters that has an accelerating kick. So as you said, it does start off slow,
Hmm.
um, and it will be a little bit faster in kick factor, but because I think the total frame time is a bit less,
Yep.
but it still is a wind up.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah. I think that's what I was referring to. Is that wind up? Normally, the bonus you get from kick factor is that fast attack is even harder to react to, but I don't think it is that much of a difference in Baz's case because he has that wind up.
let's see what else. It does give you a higher kick, but sorry, a higher jump, but Baz already jumps pretty high anyway, and jumping high isn't going to let you score hits. The more time you spend in the air, the more time your kick factor is draining. Um, and Baz can be a character where you're trying to spend time setting up a certain situation, and you don't really have time to set things up when your meter's draining. There's also this weird thing where I feel like Baz's gravity changes when using Kick Factor. I don't know if that's actually the case, but I feel like when you dismount from a rope in Kick Factor, it's as if Baz is now a bowling ball instead of a tennis ball.
Ooh, I never
Uh,
thought about that, but let me see how it is. I don't think that's true, but maybe it's just because he moves faster. I don't know.
it might just be my perception because he moves faster out of the dismount. But basically, the point I'm trying to make is that it's pretty unwieldy to have that sudden change
3
in
dive kick.
flinging momentum.
Oh, you're so used to the timing of this swing that when you move into something that goes too fast, it'll be tough to handle. I know that's for kick factor for certain characters. I haven't done enough practice with them in kick factor, so when they go into kick factor, I feel kind of, I guess, wild. Like I can't control my character.
Yeah, it's like a different set of muscle memory, for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah. So let me pop kick factor here and see if of
Dive kick.
course I always do that.
I don't think it affects well, like if you're just doing a neutral jump, and it might not even be affecting the gravity at all. But if you're
Hurry
doing
up.
like a moderately charged kick and dismounting partway through, uh, you might find that you fall to the ground quicker than you're expecting. So it's just something to
Round
keep in mind if you're
5
ever
dive
in a
kick.
situation where you're on kick factor and you want to set up a good kick fling or something like that. I
Alright,
guess one thing. Oh yeah, let's do this. Okay,
of course I
it's very
accidentally
easy
do
to.
do my special. Okay, here we go. Here's kick factor. It feels about the same, but yeah, the kick just comes out a lot quick. I think it does come out
6
sooner though.
dive kick.
You know what? It's probably just the jump because you jump up a lot faster, and so when you stop it, you'll land, and the rhythm is way different than when you're doing this.
That's possible. Yeah, it just feels weird. I guess you could say one benefit of Kickfactor is that you can change specials even when your meter runs low, because the thresholds for your specials are a bit high. Uh, so
Oh, okay.
you could set up, like air special into ground special or something like that, or do like a quick flurry of air specials.
So just
Um,
just a reminder for everyone, even if you have like just a little bit of meter left, this meter can do any of your specials because of the fact that as long as you have a little bit of meter, you can use any of it to trigger one of your special. It'll just drain to 0. So it'll turn your kick factor off after you do it, but it means that even though you need this much meter for ground special, that small sliver at the end of your kick factor will allow you to do ground special.
and actually, that special combo is something you can do outside of Kickfactor, but you do need quite a bit of meter for it. Something that would probably be close to Kickfactor, but not quite. It's a bit more of a niche technique, but it can be useful to quickly overlap yourself with a standing character and then use ground special to get that vertical thunderbolt onto them.
Yeah, I think I was showing that with the ground special, but I didn't show it with the air special at all, and that's a good call out. Let me see if I can get it in here. Well, I missed with the overlap, but that's kind of the key if you just want to overlap with them and get that ground special in. So that's what you're referring to, correct?
Yeah. And if you do it closer such that you hit the ground, it's even less reactable. So
Oh yeah. If you're doing it from a little bit closer, then you'll have less travel time and you'll probably aim better.
this can also be a response to if you're in an air-to-air interaction and you're using the air special to get beneath them.
Oh yeah.
And then you can use a ground special if they're not committing to a kick. Just keep in mind that it does use up a lot of meter, so it's not necessarily something you want to make a core strategy out of, but it can get you out of some situations and, be something in your toolkit from time to time.
Ooh, all right. I think that's it for offense, at least on my side. And I think you've already addressed most of my questions. Is there anything else you wanted to add before we move into counterplay?
I guess there are a couple of things. Early on in a round, if you're low on meter, you might be doing those low double kicks, with quick dismounts to build meter. Something important to keep in mind, apart from, well, you don't want to press the buttons too quickly once you have the meter, because then you'll plank the air special and you have to start all over again. That's one thing. But you should keep in mind that you can't dismount from a kick until you're done extending the rope. In other words, you can't dismount while you're extending the rope for a longer swing. So in terms of button presses, that just means be careful not to press dive until you let go of the kick
Okay,
button.
gotcha. Well, that's definitely good mechanics because right now, so as you can see, I was trying to press D while I was putting out the rope, and that didn't cancel anything.
Yes, and so sometimes that can actually work in your favor because since you're doing a lot of these double kicks canceled to build meter, your opponent might notice that and try to pressure you for space. But something you can do is let that second kick just continue unabated, and it can catch them as they're trying to step in. And there are definitely times where this will happen due to an input error, and you press dive to dismount a bit too early, so that kick continues. But that's the moment that they decide to step in anyway. So
incidental mix-ups.
That's one of the silver linings of playing Baz, that even an input drop can get you a hit sometimes. And then, of course, you totally play it off as if we're intentional. But
Exactly.
I think it's like, in Halo or first-person shooter where you have a sniper and you get a no-scope headshot. You totally play it off as if we're intentional, but it was totally an accident. It's a bit like that.
I know that's so as I've been trying to do this like long rope cancel, so I'll mash on D, and as soon as I start kicking though, that's when it'll actually cancel. So I guess if you're having trouble canceling and you want to do it this way, you could just hold on K and then smash D.
And a button mash. Yeah, that's true.
I don't know how you probably don't ever want to be a masher, but in a pinch, it could help. I guess.
I guess sometimes I mash when I accidentally activate Kickfactor and want to cancel into a special. This is more of a general thing, not just for Vaz. But yeah, typically I try to be as purposeful as I can, which, to be fair, is not the easiest thing with Vaz. It's just for a two-button fighting game, his input strings can be complex.
Yeah, you always want to be canceling your rope, and the speed at which you're doing it can mess things up.
Well, there's another technical thing. You can cancel your first kick into a second kick before you dismount the first one, but you have to wait till I think around a third or a quarter of the swing arc before you can do that.
So wait, say that again. You can cancel your swing kick.
Oh, so it's like you can activate your second kick while you're still swinging your first kick.
Mhm.
But you have to be, I think, at least around a third through that first arc before you can directly cancel it into a second kick. So not dismounting and then kicking, but just kicking and then press and kick again.
Round 7, I kick.
Oh, you actually never knew that. I always let go.
So yeah, I mean, to be fair, I don't think there are too many times that you'll want to do that. Maybe if the following the arc exactly is beneficial, and then you want to just like put the brakes on for a second and start a second kick there. You can do that without dismounting, but you can't do it in like the first third of the arc. So if you try like mashing kick right after you start swinging the first time, you see
Yeah.
there's a bit of a period there. So just something to keep in mind if you want to cancel into the second kick that way.
I think that'll actually be pretty good for turnarounds. Oh, maybe not.
Actually, I don't think it actually turns around unless you dismount once you're past.
Oh, it doesn't look like it, does it?
Yeah, you'd have to dismount.
You actually have to let go to get the auto face. Well, I guess that does give you an option to not auto face by letting go of rope.
That's true.
Now that I think about it.
If you're expecting them to kick back or something, maybe that would be a good time to use that. But, just some technical understanding so you don't wonder why you got hit when you press the buttons.
There's a turnaround. Yeah, it seems like you have to let go manually and then press kick to actually get the turnaround. And I don't know if doing this into that on the other side would be that useful. Because you are fairly low, but who knows? It is something that you noted, and I'm just trying to think, how can I use this to my advantage?
Right. We've already covered a lot. I think one other thing is that you mentioned inching forward by doing like by charging up a moderate swing arc, but then canceling it early so you just kind of inch up a bit.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's not fully charging. Like sometimes I'll tap it, or sometimes
tap
I'll...
it. It depends.
Yeah.
It can depend on the height, but if you're farther away, you can jump a bit further up and charge up more, making it look like you're going to do a longer swing, but then cancel it early.
Threaten the big kick to give you space, basically.
Right, and you can kind of inch forward that way too. And if you condition your opponent enough to expect that you'll always be canceling those, you can actually just let one of those sail
the YOLO kick, right?
And it can actually be a good tool if they're like landing from a kick, depending on how fast their kick is. It's not the easiest thing to time, but if they're not expecting it, they might not jump in time, and it'll kind of catch them right as they're starting their jump, but they can't get out a kick yet.
Yeah, you're basically, as you're moving forward, you're giving yourself the option to not only just stop and move an inch forward, but if you see an opportunity, you can just let the big kick go to catch them either meter building or landing or something.
So yeah, there are a lot of basic movements that are safe for Baz if you cancel them, but you always have the option to choose to engage. And I think that's one of Baz's strengths, that he can choose when he wants to come in and when not to, and he has methods to escape and disengage with a correctly angled air special or something like that. So of course, mastering how to juggle all those different options and choosing the right one for the situation is part of what makes the Baz difficult to initially learn, along with all the
Judgment.
button pressing, which can be hard.
Yeah, I always thought
Uh,
that getting 2 free cancels is really good. I mean, just for your normals, you have 2 options where you can not only delay in the air, but you can control your speed as well.
they're both chargeable, they're both delayable, they're both cancelable,
And then you throw
and
air special on top of that.
which you can basically use at any point in the process while you're in the air. So it's a lot to consider, both
Yeah.
for you and for the opponent.
All right, let's talk about how to beat this bad guy. Let me put out some of my points here. Denying air special meter. Now, this is easier said than done because
Yes.
the Baz can get his meter. It just how safely he wants to do it is the question. And it really depends on your character. So I group them into kind of 2 sections. Actually, let me have Baz jump. That might be easier to kind of show. All right, he actually jumps a little bit higher, but we'll say that this height for now. If you have a high jumper, then your place that you want to stand is dependent on your kick angle and your jump speed. But what you want to do is just like with double jump characters, you want to wait out their first jump. With this special double kick character, you kind of want to wait out their first kick. And you want to be in a position where you can react to this swing kick just on seeing him let go. But you want to be able to react with a jump, but that jump has to be floaty enough that if he decides to delay again, like right here, that you can still just punish him just because you get above them. And usually this position is you'll want to wait until the Baz starts to decline. So if the Baz makes an empty jump and you're a high jumper, if they start to get low, then you pretty much have a kill if they don't have air special. Air special obviously gives them the ability to get out of quickly, but if they don't have air special, there's no way for them to jump again like double jump characters. They can kick again, but if this delay space isn't higher than where you can kill, then you're going to be able to hit them, especially since they'll have their hand out for this rope throw. And that's a bit to take in, I know. And so as you're playing against the Baz, if you're a high jumper, you want to consider when or how far can I stand where I can react to this fast swing, and how much threat can I put on with this jump. And so all the characters that I would say do well against Baz can do 2 things. They can get above Baz and they can deal with this fast swing kick, either by like with Redacted with ducking, or with like S-Kill has a jump back and up that he can use to react to this. But being able to deal with this fast swing kick and his height are kind of like the best characters who do well against Baz. Slow characters, they still have to worry about this swing kick. And so it's tough because, sorry, not slow characters, but characters that don't jump as high will never be in an area where they want to jump on this first delay kick, because the second delay kick is just going to get them in trouble unless they have some sort of delay. So with slow characters, you're looking to, you want to be able to attack this swing kick, but you also want to be able to be in a position where you can you don't want to jump too early at all, and you can kind of work your way closer and closer as he starts to fall down. And if you can control your distance well enough, you'll have the option to kind of straight up go under and force him to use the second kick with bad timing. It is kind of putting you in a bad position, like versus Shoals, where you don't normally want Shoals above you. But the Baz is a little bit different because the kick isn't as it won't allow him to escape so easily, and so you can cause him to do a kick in the wrong place. Now this is all depending if Baz has air special or not. Once Baz has air special, he then has his third option always to kind of just lighting anywhere. And so that's kind of this is why you want to keep him off meter, and why you always want to pressure him so that he doesn't have that option most of the time. That might be a lot. Let's discuss that first before I move over some of the other points. um, do you have any ideas as far as in terms of like the what I said about high jumping characters and low jumping characters?
Um, I do think that sums it up pretty well. I think for low jumping characters, there's the possibility of trying to get underneath Vaz and going past. And then if he tries to do like if he tries to auto face the second kick, you might be able to do a kickback kick in response, or just a kickback to get out of the way. It always pays to be patient against Vaz when he hasn't used his second kick yet. Um, and of course, once he has his lightning, his air special, any high air-to-air interaction is a risk, but we can get to that after.
Yeah, and like basically the lower Baz gets, the less threat he has because that swing kick no longer has as much threat. So sometimes he'll land too quickly or it won't be fast enough. So the lower Baz gets, that's kind of what position you want to put him in. And on top of that, as Baz lands, let's unpause the game here. So not only is it good for like as he's coming down, but let's just say from here and down is kind of when you want to structure your attack. Baz's kickback doesn't go back that far. It only goes back like maybe about this much and then that direction. And his jump up obviously goes like this. So when he lands, you're wanting to look to aim a high attack somewhere around here because it will cover his jump up and his jump back because he just doesn't retreat that much. So if you have a character with an angle like this, that's going to be awesome. So like Shoals, Sensei, they all have good like even Markman can do pretty well if he can get his kick high enough. But that angle where you're kind of crossing up his jump up option, so that even if he jumps up in response, you might still tag him on the way up or on the way back. That's probably your best avenue to attack. If you're attacking really low, that's usually bad because Baz actually jumps up pretty fast, so he's going to clear this area pretty quickly. And so unless you're right on top of him, you're probably not going to get the hit. And so when you're attacking Baz, it's kind of like when you're attacking Sensei. Sensei has a fast jump as well, and he has these kind of same angles. You want to aim a little bit higher, more towards his head and across.
It's
Do
worth
you?
pointing out that his one of his knees kind of bends forward when he's doing jumps.
Okay, let me show that. There you go.
So if there we go, yeah. So if you're aiming high enough that you can catch that even as he's rising up, uh, that's usually a good idea.
It's also worth noting that this is not hittable. On all characters, the bottom half of the legs, you can aim for the knees, but for every character who jumps, the bottom half isn't hittable. So that's why when you're aiming low, you're already like you're gonna miss some of that. Even if it looks like you hit their foot on the way up, it's actually just not a hittable area.
Oh, it's also worth pointing out that Baz's hitboxes are pretty much just his feet. They don't extend like all the way up to the knee like Redacted's does. Um,
For the attack, yes.
for the attack, and so it's sometimes it's best just to stand still, as hard as that. Eh, as much as your head is screaming at you to like react in some way.
Yeah, so it's only I would say like right here, right? Oops, that's not the right drawing. It's hard to match up my screen with my thing, but it's only in the front. So even if he like lands on you with his butt, it's not going to do anything.
Yeah, it can be a little deceptive when you're first playing against them. So I just wanted to make sure we pointed that out.
Yeah, definitely a good thing to remind everyone about. So
It's be-
even if the body and the boots look like the top of the boots hit you, it's not actually going to connect. It's the feet that you're only worried about.
Because I think when you're playing against Jafeli and you try to get inside his drop kick and you get up to like maybe his upper shin, you're like, wait, why did I still get hit? But that's not really a thing with the Baz, so bear that in mind. Mhm.
Yeah, the if we were to have if we were imagining that this was Jafali's hitbox looks like almost like this, I think. So it's pretty wide, whereas the Baz is only like right there.
And
Oh,
this is pretty important if Faz is trying to conserve meter and try to get you with like low swing kicks. Because if you don't react and you just stand still, the tip of his boots might kind of just angle just past, graze your head and not actually hit it.
mhm.
Um, Of course, you're always playing with fire at that point anyway, but, uh, sometimes standing still is the right call. It's just something to keep in mind.
Okay. Let me think. So yeah, I covered the angle. I covered like high jump versus low jump, kind of like where to stand and like going underneath you reminded me of. Um,
I would just say, as a general point, you don't want Vaz to build meter too easily, but you also at the same time want to respect what he can do even without meter. Um, so this just means not being too greedy to step in too close, because when he kicks, he does kind of jut his feet out pretty far relative to his standing position.
mhm.
Um, and you want to be careful with neutral jumps because of all the delay tools Baz has. But I think you already covered those.
All right. I think the last 2 points I want to cover are um fling escapes and lightning patterns. So let's go over fling escapes first.
Mhm.
So Baz, good Bazes should always go like that, where they fling themselves away from you. This is safe. Now, some Bazes will be more aggressive, and they'll want to go down next to you and try to do a really quick kick. And you want to notice that when characters or players, when Baz players tend to just let their land drop like this or land it right next to you because they're putting themselves right in front of you to kick, and if you're not ready for it, you might miss the opportunity. Whereas if you notice that Baz is always like fling themselves across the screen, then like whenever that happens, they're more likely to move away, so you can kind of just get ready to charge them and kind of get a jump on closing the distance already. So just be wary about how far does the Baz fling? Does his landing always like end like this? Then you can always just chase down that landing. If it goes far away, you can get a beat on chasing him down. If he gets next to you, then plan to try to get a counter kick in.
And a good Baz will probably be like doing both of these, so try to adapt to what you're seeing in
Yeah.
real time.
The other thing is lightning counters. It's very fast and it's very hard to do, but you can do it. So if you see him going for an attack, you can actually catch his movement. And I would say focus on a KK instead of a DK because it'll give you a little bit more room and it actually makes you retreat as well. But if they're doing lightning attacks from the air and they keep doing the same pattern, you can try to kick them. And sometimes not only do you kick them, but let's say you don't actually kick them, but sometimes they'll just move you out of the way anyway from the lightning. So it can be a good thing to watch for those patterns when they're coming in for the lightning and try to counter it, because even if you don't counter it, it'll cause you to dodge some of the times. Any thoughts on that?
Um, this is where it gets the trickiest. Yeah, I mean the basic responses are standing still, doing a neutral dive kick, and kicking back or kicking back and kicking. And it really just comes down to what the angle of approach is and what the timing is. There are times where if you do a kickback, you wind up doing it too late after he's already crossed you, and so you kind of kick back in the other direction right into the lightning stream.
Mm-hmm.
But there are other times where, like if he's doing an earlier angle, a kickback is the right choice because it gets you out of the way, and there might even be a chance of a kick from the kickback to tag him before he does anything else.
I'm thinking your jump usually happens if you're reading the lightning, your jump usually happens like before Baz kind of gets his lightning out, and so if you're thinking about like cross up opportunities, he won't cross you up, so you'll actually jump away from him. Um, if you're doing it ahead of time. Obviously, if you're not doing it ahead of time, I recommend thinking about the mix up because if he goes high, then you're just jumping into it. But yeah, I think what you said holds that you kind of have to recognize the situation. But I just want to point out that you can kick him as he goes for a lightning attack, and so don't dismiss that as an option.
Oh yeah, for sure. It's there are cases where you anticipate the air special anyway, but you just wind up uh, jumping too late because they used it just a little bit earlier than you expected. And
Mhm.
unless Baz starts charging the air special for a shallower angle, it's really not a reactable move. It's something that you're maybe anticipating based on the way he's approaching you. Um, and that's where you can try to decide, which of those approaches is the correct one, or at least the less risky one. Um, there are definitely like character specific considerations too. Like Hun has a shallow kick that kind of pops in front of her, so doing a low neutral dive kick can be a good tool depending on the angle. But then the Baz player might angle the lightning even further past to account for that. So you can really get into the weeds on this.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh,
All right, I think we should move past it then.
yeah, yeah.
Let's see what's next on the agenda here. We talked about counterplay. I think it's good to talk about concussion now. And I think
Oh,
the
the
same.
pain.
What's up?
Oh, the pain.
Oh shoot! Hold on.
Concussion.
Sorry. There you go.
No,
All
no,
right. Let me.
I just meant concussion.
Oh yeah. Let me get Baz here. Concussed. All right. So Baz has the same angles. He just can't jump aside. And like I said, because he doesn't have that height, he's exceptionally vulnerable. And one of the things you have to worry about when you're approaching other characters is this I want to say this area right here where they're hitting you on approach. The Baz, as we said before, has this wind up, so his fast attack, he has to jump first, throw the rope, and then swing, and it's extra slow because he's concussed. So getting into this area where you can move into this power position is a lot easier, and you should take advantage of that. Again, don't be reckless, but understand that this area that you want to jump from, you can get to it a lot safer because of the Baz being concussed. And from this position, you're going to force Baz to back up. If he doesn't back up, then you can kind of just get over him. And as he's standing with this very weak this way or this way, he's going to get hit. um, Now, some of the lower jump characters, if they can't get above to kick above Baz, it's going to be a problem because there's this point where Baz reaches for the rope like this, and if you can't hit his hand on this rope, then, and even if you could, he can still kind of move into his swing kick and kick you. So it's for the lower jump characters, you might want to wait out that first kick because uh, even though it seems like it's a long time to wait and it seems like he's vulnerable, he actually can stay up in that position for a long time because he can move into a second kick and still put out that rope. So if you're a short jump character, never aim for Baz's landing. Always aim high to hit the Baz like in the air or in the head when he lands. Because as soon as you aim low, that's when you're going to get caught by a delay kick. But other than that, Baz is pretty weak when he's concussed, and if you can chain it, you're going to take away his height power and his air special power. So, and I think that's where the extra strength of characters who jump higher than Baz even have an even easier time during this part because they already jump over Baz when he's not concussed. That when he's concussed, it just makes it like 2 times worse.
Yeah, we mentioned that Baz has an accelerating kick, which starts out slow, and so when you're concussed, the startup is even longer.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
it's more difficult than it is for other characters to go for a kick, an anticipatory kick that's expecting the character to jump in. Because by the time you jump up and wind up and start kicking, they've probably already reached the ground. I would say for the opposing character, just be careful not to go in too deep. Be mindful of the fact that Baz's kick does extend. He's pushing out his feet parallel to the ground. So just be mindful of that. And as Sano said, he can delay twice because he has two kicks, so he can charge up a lot. Um, so there are times you might want to wait a little bit before you go for the punishing kick. I guess on Baz's side, something to keep in mind is that you can try to think about where to charge up a kick because when you do, Baz throws out his hand to wind the rope. And if you position that correctly, they might kick your wrist instead of your head, which is always great because then no headshot chains.
Yeah, I wanna go ahead and emphasize, at least in my opinion, as the Baz, you're not looking to survive the round against high jump characters. You're looking to die. Against low jump characters, you could try to survive the round, but dying is still a good option. And in both, I don't think you're ever looking for the punish unless they're giving it to you. You're always looking to give up the round because getting stuck in the headshot chain is abysmal for Baz, and his option to get a reversal is very low. So I would gamble on most of the time. Give your body up so you can start the round fresh. Do you agree, or
Yeah,
do you kind of go for reversals all the time?
I think I generally agree. I mean, there are situations where I can tell my opponent's just going in really hard, and so I throw out a kick and they kind of sail into it.
Mhm.
But I think if you're more used to the matchup, you'll know not to go in too deep. And if you inch up properly, you'll force Baz to use kickbacks and retreat, and it's just a matter of who can manage the spacing better. Um, there will be situations where your options are survive the current kick or go right into it, and if you survive, that might just set you up to get headshot by the subsequent kick.
Yeah.
It's not guaranteed, but the longer you survive, the more meter they're building to. So I wouldn't say never go for survival, but understand that it's a considerable risk
Mhm.
against several characters.
Yeah, I think that's why I said kind of the lower jump characters, you have a little bit more leeway because you can delay so much with your kick. But even then, they could still hit you if you have bad timing, or they have really really good timing on your second kick release, then they can just hit you in the head. So even against lower jump characters, I'm just saying you have a higher chance than high jump characters. High jump characters, they just have a very good probability of headshotting you that you want to take away from them as soon as possible.
Yeah, yeah.
All right, so let's talk about Concuss on the other side. And
Round one.
like we said before,
Kick.
since Baz can kind of approach very quickly, I want to note that you might want to take this time to build up a little bit of meter before you approach, because you can always approach like that. Doing one kick into the next, aiming for their head or aiming past them is. You can also just inch forward and then go for the turnarounds.
Right.
Um,
There's that question of whether to step in first or just to fling yourself quickly, and it might be good to use both depending on over the course of a set, depending on the situation.
Yeah, I just wanted to highlight that you might want to take this time to build meter because you can get in fairly quickly. So
Hmm.
consider, hey, does it look like I'm behind on meter? Because this is a good shot to let's build some meter before I actually go in.
And yeah,
Obviously, the time you take to build meter is going to be less time to set up another headshot. But if you're like very low on meter and you don't even have air special, then it might be a good time to like build that up.
and there are certain matchups too where Baz's meter is even more important than usual, and against characters that are maybe harder to punish while concussed.
Hmm.
And you might spend, that those full how many is it, like 4 seconds or something?
Yeah, 4 seconds of concussion.
You might just spend that whole time just building meter sometimes because you want to be prepared for uh, once they exit the concussed state. Because some characters are not as easy to punish in that state. So it's more of a less aggressive option you could choose if you're concerned about that.
I do think the Baz does have a decent headshot game because he has that air control.
Hmm.
It's a little bit harder than say like Shoals. Shoals probably number one headshot game out of all the characters. Then I'd put N at the next one.
Mm.
Just because he has so much air control and literally he has to sit on characters from the top, and usually that's where their head is. So um,
Hmm.
I'd say those are the two number one headshot people, and then Baz is like more towards the middle because his swing kick's a little bit unwieldy, but just having those air cancels makes him a threat to chain up headshots, and he has the height as well. All right, line play is probably our last subject, and then we can go into selection and matchups.
Oh
Uh,
wait, actually, there's a few things I wanted to mention on like the opposing side for concussed.
oh, definitely, go ahead.
Um, because of how quickly Baz can come in. you will often have to make a decision about whether you're going to like push forward to get underneath Baz, or to back up, or to do like a neutral
Hurry
jump
up!
or stand still. And well, so for example, one situation I was going to list is that if you step in first as Baz and you jump a bit higher for a windup, your opponent might try to like inch underneath you. But one thing that you can do is just let go of your first ropes that you drop as they're trying to pass underneath you and line up the second kick to hit them low.
Okay, so this is a position where let's imagine Dive is concussed here, and they'll want to go underneath. You said.
That might be the reaction. Like if you're jumping high and starting to wind up a rope, they
And
might try to
so
yeah.
you're obviously the tool is to see if you can get to a position where you kick but you let go to the point where you turn around. Is that correct?
Oh, well,
Or you're just dropping here and then doing your second kick. I guess they're both options.
yeah, they're both. I was referring to the latter one, but they're both things you can do for
Okay.
sure.
Okay.
And then if you notice that the opponent is going for like backing up right away, then that's when you can do like a longer fling
Hmm.
and try to, I guess, do like a horizontal fling where you can put the brakes on right where they might try to respond with a kick. Um, there's always the question of whether they'll try to stand still or jump up. So sometimes you want to aim that second kick higher, or sometimes you want to aim it lower. Uh, and again, you can get into the weeds a lot on this. I'm just trying to point out that there are a few different situations, and picking the right tools is important here.
Definitely.
Um,
I mean, I
also,
think that this falls into the the common offense of getting the swing kicks right, and linking up your two kicks so that you can get to the position you want to set up. And like, how do you set that up in one kick, or do you set up in two kicks, and do you end up using your special just to guarantee the hit? Um,
and it's worth mentioning that since they're going to be moving at a slower speed, there's more of an option to just fling yourself into the ground near them, so that you can set up another string of kicks that way.
yes,
Being
the, the
careful.
the walk forward, right?
Yes, you could also even like fling a bit past them too. Again, depending on circumstance. Um, and there's also the possibility of instead of using a swing kick, kind of jumping
Down
up and
low.
angling a lightning
Fall.
because they won't be able
High
to jump
kick.
as high. Uh, this is also useful against like lower jump characters. If you think they're going to kick
Fraud
back, you can kind of
detection
jump up
warning.
and angle a shallow lightning so
Fraud
that the end of it
detection
catches them,
warning.
Down low.
stuff like that. So there's a
High.
lot of tricks you can
High
do.
kick.
But of course, keep in mind that air special won't get further headshots.
Yeah, yeah. I think that when you're using your air special, it's fairly easy to take out the opponent, but you kind of want to not, if you can. Obviously, a headshot is better, but if you feel like you're running out of time, you just want to convert the kill. Don't be afraid to use your air special.
And there's some characters that are going to be harder to get chain headshots against just because they have better defense on concussion.
Hmm.
So in those cases, even getting another hit, even if it's not a headshot, getting another hit is another hit. So that's still good. It just means you'll have to build up a bit more meter later.
Cool. Is that the? Did you want to add more to that, or we move on?
I think we can move on. I just wanted to give like a broad overview there. Otherwise, we can get into the weeds on like every interaction that can happen. So
Line play. I think this is fairly simple. With his delays, being able he can get to the line from any position really quickly using a fling or his lightning, and he can defend the line using his lightning, his air lightning, or his ground lightning. So overall, he's got a really good line game. I don't know if there's anything else to say about that.
it kind of just goes back to him having a lot of options generally. He's an
Mhm.
options character, so he has a lot of ways to approach the line if the opponent's already there, or things he can do if he's already at line. If the opponent is planting themselves at line on the ground and not budging, and you don't really want to do anything risky, you could just fling yourself into the center line up high on the first kick, and then delay with your second kick and with the air special rotation. And so Baz can pretty safely
Hurry
at
up.
least force a judgment or a tie in
Mm.
many situations.
Yeah, so
Um,
I'm just trying to show that move, and it's basically
Detection
you
averted.
you use your fling movement to get
Down
to
low.
center line on the
6.
first
High
kick.
kick.
So let's say they're standing here. So you could use your fling movement to get over there, and then just use that second like rope to hang out there for almost like half a second. If you time it right, you should be able to stop yourself and be right above the line for a
Hurry up!
safe take on the line in terms of you're not really attacking them, but you have a good chance of tying it. And obviously, there's moves where instead of just doing that, you can come in with your lightning,
Round
or you
7.
can
Kick.
lightning the line. Plenty of options.
Right, if you notice they're jumping in, you can kind of dismount and overlap them and use your ground special or something like that. Or, if you're already at line, you think they're coming in, you can aim
Hurry
a
up!
kick out of line or a lightning to catch them as they're trying to come in. That's a bit riskier in the sense that you're taking yourself off a line, but if think you have a good
Zabasi
read or you're anticipating
wins.
something, that's also an option.
All right,
He,
let's. We good?
I was just gonna say he probably has the hardest time against characters that can jump high and fast. So like Redacted and Mr. N, if they get to the line first, they can get above Baz as he approaches. So you have to be a bit more judicious in how you approach in that case. That's getting more into matchup territory though.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna say overall his line game is good. Obviously, he's gonna clash with people who might have better line games, but overall,
Mhm.
you have options to take and defend line.
Yep, yep.
All right, let's talk about gems really quick. I think this is gonna be short, but
Select your character. I'll storm right in.
I
Yeah,
just
the
want to
I
note
don't deal
certain
with
things
fuzzy
about the
logic.
gem.
Select your gems.
The kick gem will only add kick swing speed, so it won't make your throw show your like putting out the rope any faster. So it only adds for kick speed. Meter gem will make your ground special one kick closer to get, and your second air special one kick closer to get. So that can be beneficial in matches where you need your basically your air special a lot. It could be an option. And the dive gem gives you extra height, which I think is very important to the Baz because you have that. Uh, you want to be higher on the screen more often than times than lower, and sometimes that dive gem just it allows you to do things that you just can't do when you don't have it. Um, I think that's it. And I think that the dive gem is probably the de facto gem until you just need too much meter, then you would go with the meter gem. That's kind of where I put it.
Yeah, the dive gem gives Baz that aerial safety net, so to speak. It just gives him more room to set up the positioning that he wants, and it's usually you're not giving up that advantage unless you really need something else in the matchup. So it tends to be the safer pick. I don't think Kick Gem is a bad pick per se. I call it more of a risky pick because getting that little boost in kick speed can help you in some areas, but often it's not worth the risk of having a lower jump height, having a lower jump height while you're concussed, uh, having less of an escape maneuverability because of that. There are certain matchups. Well, there's at least one matchup where I might choose Kick Gem, which we can get into, but I think Dive Gem is really the de facto, as Thanos said. One little thing to keep in mind is that the style gem's benefit can be eroded if you use the air special right when you're able to get it because of that quirk he has when meter building. So
Yeah,
if he has less
the
than
double
two
kick
kicks,
one, right?
right? Because when he has less than 2 kicks worth of meter and he kicks, it'll bring him up to that threshold. I think no matter where in that
Yeah,
range he
no
is.
matter what, no matter what meter he has. I mean, I
So
think that's how it is from my testing, but I could be wrong.
we were live this before, and I think that's what we found.
Yeah,
So basically, if you're using meter gem, ideally you want to build up a bit more meter past the threshold before using air special. But of course, if you have to use it, you have to use it.
fair enough.
And yellow gem, I mean,
No,
as with
no,
any
let's
character,
not talk about yellow gem. I think I've covered yellow gem enough. Don't use it if
that's
you're
true.
playing seriously. It's fun for a mix-up and when you're playing casually, but if you're being serious, I think if you can win with the yellow gem, you should be able to win with any gem.
The only thing I'll say about it is that you get the kick speed boost and a really high jump. So maybe for his weakest matchups, you might consider it for the first game because you're going to switch anyway, right? Uh,
So this is after
eh,
you see the character pick and you're like, okay, let's try to go yellow gem to to make this quick so I can move on.
it's eh, there are a couple of matchups I would consider it like a distant possibility, but even then, you do have to win 5 rounds in a row. So, and with Baz being the way that he is, all those button presses, you can't make any errors, no input drops, so it's a very high bar.
Oh, I should mention this because Fuzzmosa mentioned this and I totally didn't even think about it. But you can use YOLO Gem to practice being Kickfactor Baz. If you want to use Kickfactor Baz and you want to get used to the extra speed, then play matches with the Yellow Gem so you can get used to how he moves with all that extra speed.
Is it exactly the same or just similar? I actually don't know.
No, it's not exactly the same. I don't know the numbers right now, but actually, I'll just
Okay.
check real quick.
But yeah,
um,
so the idea is it's comparable at least, so it'll help you train if you want to be in Kickfactor, which I generally would not recommend, but that could just be the bias of my playstyle.
oh, actually, it is the same. So
Oh, it is. Okay.
30% is the kick factor bonus, and that's what you get from the YOLO gem. For some characters, it's like 40% and 50% or yeah, I think it's 40% for most characters or 35%. But some characters are at the 30% threshold, and Baz is one of them. So the YOLO
Mhm.
gem will match the boost you get in kick factor.
Oh, there was one tiny thing I wanted to mention before we go into matchups, just that if you kick into the wall, I think that'll just interrupt his kick and it'll go into a falling state. But
Zedek
you
to your
can
duds.
start at the second kick at that point. I forget whether we covered that.
No, I'm not sure what you're talking about either. So let's go over that. You're saying
It's
if you
from
kick
above.
into the wall,
Laundo.
that means I
Then
gotta
that base
dive go back.
Divekick.
yeah, I think that basically just stops your kick, if I remember correctly.
I mean, I think you'll still move, right? Oh no, it just stopped it. I guess I always fling by this point. Okay, so kicking against the wall will stop your momentum, and if you're on the right side wall, you'll face towards center stage, and on the other wall, you'll face left side. I think you always face left whenever you're overlapping, so
Laundo.
something to note in general.
Divekick.
Alright, there you go. Yep, it just stops you, and then it kind of like kicks, it like bumps you a little bit.
It's funny because after he stops, he's facing right, but when he
Hurry up.
lands, he's facing left.
Oh,
So those have to keep in mind if you want to set up a second kick.
okay.
Uh, yeah, I always forget about the specifics of those interactions, but just keep in mind that your kick is not going to continue in place. When you reach the wall, it is going to stop.
Porridge.
Alright.
Laundo.
Shall we start
Yeah.
the matchups? We'll do dive first.
Yeah, sure. Let me start off the game.
Yeah, no
There
worries.
could be little things that we missed here and there. Apologies if we did. There's just so many little things to cover with the Baz because he has so many options. But I think we covered a good degree.
Yeah, I think this is probably the longest discussion we've had. So there's so many things to cover with, like, his normals are just amazing with the amount of things you can do even without his special.
Yep.
All right, let me know when you got a lobby up, and then we can jump in and do dive versus Baz. And if anyone in chat wants to shout out a future character to test matchups with, we can. If not, I'll try to find one that would be interesting for the next one. We usually like to start off with the quintessential dive versus X character. So I believe Axem will be playing the Baz. I'll be playing the opposing meat
That works fine.
to go into
Dive
the
is a good
grinder.
Dive is a good character to start with anyway because it's a pretty even matchup. I feel like, or at least close to it. Let me just stop watching the stream here. Okay, good.
All right. I'll also have fix the names so we can get some names in a scoreboard up here. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna play a set. Hopefully we can kind of show good and bad play. Doesn't have to be perfect play; just has to be, examples of what might happen in a match. The one thing I want to talk about as far as dive is I think both gems are viable here. Kick gem allows you more mobility, and dive gem allows you like more threat, but you just can't move on the ground as well. I don't know which one I'm gonna do today. You know what? Let's do dive for now.
All right.
Zedek to your duds.
I do think one of the things Baz has to look out for in this matchup is Dive's Kickfactor. It's just a great Kickfactor due to his jump speed and kick angle,
Yeah.
and it gives him a lot of versatility there. So if you can reset that meter building with a headshot, that's probably good. So that's a good demonstration of how
Being in the
narrow
butt
Baz
range.
is. Yeah, and also how narrow his hitbox is.
I had to reset my jump there because I didn't want to get stuck in the air for a second kick to tag me. Oh, there it is.
It's if you don't see it coming, it's very hard to respond.
I was thinking about it, but then I just froze up when I was trying to hit it. Ooh.
Ooh, so almost able to tag me before the lightning comes
Yeah,
out.
yeah, I was trying.
Oops.
Alright, this is
Oh,
the...
so that's good.
Yeah.
Not jumping too high, getting the yeah.
Oh, getting greedy for that headshot.
Oh, there we go.
You got lightning now though, so I can't do any fire attacks easily. Okay, I'm out. I'm using velocity to kind of like get myself out of bad jumps.
Oh, yeah, it's a good catch. I was hoping to land after you had kicked, and then maybe rope into center line.
Yeah, we were getting down to the line match there, so I figure we're gonna start playing for center. So I expected to kind of a kick come in, so I'm just trying to position myself. There is one thing to note is the ground special doesn't have as much use in this match, except for kind of there's like this niche thing of using it to get out from underneath Baz, where you don't want to jump too high, but you can use that forward momentum from the jump to kind of get you where you want horizontally. But other than that, I think saving for Kickfactor is better, and utilizing Air Special as dive to kind of get out of bad situations is something you want to look out for. You're giving up your Kickfactor build, but it's better than dying.
Yeah, it's better than getting hit for sure.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes, from above.
Oh, forgot to put the scores.
Down.
There you go.
One.
What's up, man? Ooh, there it is. I should have stood still.
Right, that's the
Down.
what Counter would affectionately call the fly swatter. Because if you react, you go right to the
Oh, just outside. Okay, so I'm supposed to be looking for that quick kick range. I should be way outside that. If I am, it'll be perfect. There, I messed up my spacing, so I got tagged all the way up. Oh. Oh no, that was an input error. Just trying to get to center with a quick kick and accidentally did my special. I think I might be a little greedy on my headshot hunting there.
Fraud detection warning. Fraud detection warning.
Round 5.
I have no chance but to try to survive this one. Looks like he's building a little bit of meter. Oh,
Fraud detected.
nice, nice.
yeah, it's especially like if you're on game point and you can do that quick double to get air special, then I can help you close out the round without being too risky with the rope flings.
Yeah, definitely opening up that last option to do air special if you don't have it to close out the game is good. Just outside the kick range, that's good.
And it's a good demonstration of what Dive Gen can help you accomplish with dive that you wouldn't be able to do otherwise. If you're in that close quarters air-to-air situation, Dive Gen dive can get above that.
Yeah.
But if you're a bit further away, it's harder to tell because of Baz's delay. Oh,
Oh.
I'll definitely take that. Yes.
Round 4.
Thought I had that one for sure. Okay, there I have to wait for that first kick. I should at least
Round
wait for some time on that first kick so I can outlast the second kick. There it is.
I want to try at least one of those. Yeah. So
I was
you have to
definitely
be
waiting for it. I'm
prepared
like, hit me with the lightning. I'm waiting for it. Oh no.
Wait, was that a miss?
Yeah,
press,
yeah.
or-
Pressed a
okay.
little too quickly.
7, 8.
Oh. Expecting some lightning, just holding off on it.
Round
I know you do. You know, if you think they're expecting it, there are other things you can do. So.
Ooh.
That was a tricky situation to be in. Yeah.
I was standing because I thought it was close enough that your kick was gonna go past me, and then I was gonna do a KK once the.
Yeah. There
Yeah.
are times where it seems like it's going to miss, but then once it starts moving down, it kind of tags you on the back of the hitbox. I think.
Yeah, I
It
think
can
it's
be a
just like
little
right on
finicky.
your backside. Yep. All right, you're up 2-1. Let's see if I can put another game to tie it up.
Yep. Yep.
1.
Probably should let that one continue.
Yeah. I was like, did you hit me? Nope. Okay, I should try to capitalize on this since we're so close. Oh. Should have stayed still.
And I forget whether I mentioned this, but it's a lot easier to do that quickly, that turnaround, when you don't have meter for air special.
Oh yeah, because you're not held down by pressing it too quickly because you don't have anything to trigger.
Right.
Oh gosh.
So what happened there is I thought I dismounted, but I pressed it too early because you have to
Yep.
wait to this kick, and then you can't cancel it into a kick again because you have to wait for part of that arc to clear first.
Ooh. I went a little too early. I saw lightning coming. I got anxious on the chase down.
6.
Oh,
Oh.
a bit too far away. Yeah.
Yeah, I've got that kick timing, dive with kick jam timing.
Oh, right. That
That's-
is a good thing to keep in mind. Oh, right. And another good demonstration of Bez sticks his feet out. The hitbox is sometimes more forward than you want it to be.
Ooh. Totally forgot you had one more kick for lightning there. I thought you were still off the lightning. Well played, well played.
Right, because you could be below the threshold just slightly, but you do it. If you're in the air, you can still be doing kicks. So.
All right, let's see. No requests in chat, so I'm gonna take a look at our list and maybe go over some of the more extreme matchups.
It'd be good to cover at least one that's strong and weak. I agree.
All right,
So
do
I'll
you
just.
have character?
Oh, okay. I
Yeah,
was just
yeah, I'm
waiting
just
for you to
gonna-
go ahead.
Yeah, I'm gonna take a look to see.
Can you feel the storm?
Do you want to do Shoals or Redacted or N? I guess all of them are high.
Well, you're on Shoals right now, so.
Prepare for tough acting tin action.
Select your bring.
We're gonna go kick with Dr. Shoals. I think she can go either gem. It all
I think
depends
it-
on how
yeah.
aggressive you want to be.
I think for Shoals, Kick Gem can let you pressure more easily, whereas Dive Jam gives you a bit more control in the high air-to-air stuff. But they're both usable. I think as bad as I would usually pick Dive Jam here.
Select your duds.
So
Think about this.
Oh,
Oh,
go ahead.
you go ahead.
no, go ahead, say it.
Oh, that something that makes this matchup feel pretty bad for Baz is that Shoals can
From above.
pressure him into making risky moves before he has access to air special, and if one of those risky moves results in him getting headshot, then Shoals can ride that at least partially to victory. And yet at the same time, sometimes crossing underneath Shoals, as uncomfortable as it is the right thing to do. So it's just... Oops, that's bad.
Just got underneath me there.
Round See, dive kick.
Sandwich! Eat it! YOLO!
Ooh, just low
So-
enough.
Yeah, so sometimes that very low lightning can help.
Round 4, dive kick.
Oh, a tag in the knee. That can certainly happen against Shoals.
Round 5, dive kick. Rejected again.
Yeah, the ability for Shoals to get high really quickly and attack like in a horizontal position makes it so that Baz, like, his swing angle is a bit tough to catch that. And she can also, you know, do turnarounds. Ooh, I thought I was gonna catch lightning. I should not be trying that though.
Round
But her angle is very good against the Baz because it's really hard for the Baz to hit. Like, if he hits, there's a good chance for it to be toe to toe, so it'll be a tie. And also,
round
Dr. Shoals has that ability to cancel in the air and kind of outweigh the delay. He can out delay.
Yeah, so she has her own delay tools.
Yeah. Ooh,
Oh,
little
a
too.
bit late on that one.
Yeah. I think you didn't. You need. I don't think you needed to do the angle. I think you could have lightninged early, like without angling at all.
Yeah, I may have just misjudged the timing a bit there. It's hard to talk about this matchup and play it like super well at the same time. But...
No, let's focus on
Oh,
playing.
yes.
Let's we can add comments after.
Round 1, dive kick.
Ooh,
Achilles tendon!
it's me building meter. Got too close, and Axem's looking for it.
Round 2, dive kick.
Ooh, maybe I should have let that go.
That's something that can happen to both characters. They can get hit like during their startup frames.
Dive kick.
Oh, it's too high.
Round 4, dive kick.
Oh,
This one's
that is one of tools that Baz can use, is that ground special that hits above him. Although Shoals is pretty slim, so there are ways that she can get away from that. Just because of her shape.
Yeah, when she snaps into her air special, it makes her like vertical completely, so that's parallel to the lightning. So unless she's dead on, it's not going to hit. So you have to be careful about it.
Round
Yep.
6, dive kick.
Oh, I'm trying. I should not do that. I see it. I see you turning, and I'm like, I can hit that. No.
Oh, right into it.
I was just meter building. That was incidental on my side. I had no idea that was coming.
Dive kick.
Oh, there it is. You want that hand for sure.
Hmm.
Round 9, dive kick.
Ooh.
Sandwich!
Oh. I should have waited just a little bit longer.
Wins.
The delay versus delay can get pretty tense, yeah.
Yeah, I've been missing low, so I was like, should I try to delay and make a better chance for hitting low? But I think just staying high is fine. It's the safer option most of the time, and it won't get me into a kill, or get me killed, I should say.
I answer to
Just a
no
little low.
one!
Round 2, dive kick.
So that is one thing that, to be fair, all characters are looking for if they can get Shoals' issues landing from that second kick.
Yeah, the meter movement kick, I should say.
Although Shoals doesn't stick out in you quite as much as Baz does, so it can be tricky.
No.
4, dive kick.
Now, of course, in many of these cases, if Shoals just lets her first kick,
Go?
keep on
Yeah, you'll
going,
get hit in the head.
so it is a risky play for Baz, but sometimes you just have to take the risk.
5, dive kick.
Oh, just missed it. But thankfully, fast turnarounds when you don't have air special, so sometimes that really does come in handy.
Hopefully I'm at least showing some of Shoals' options here. And my cancels aren't the best, but
It is difficult to fully exploit this matchup as Shoals, because of how technical her cancels can be. Oops.
You could have flung away there. Were you trying to
Yep.
go for a lightning?
I think I just missed the flame timing. It's kind of wound up.
Oh, whoops. We'd like a fast turnaround kick there. That would have
Right,
been
right.
perfect.
Ooh.
Ooh.
Fallen arches.
Round 4. Dive kick.
I'll take.
Have no hope.
Perfect.
Yeah, against Shoals, I really just want the hit, so sometimes I just resort to air special there. Oh, that's bad.
Yeah.
Well, potentially.
I should have been more aggressive with the kick there. Oh, not high enough.
You wretch.
Now it's making me think I should want dive gem now.
It does give you more control in that air-to-air. You've been waiting too long here. Oh, yep, I should have tried that.
Whenever I hear myself saying that should have been higher, I'm gonna be like, oh well, there's a gem for that.
Oh, and I tried to cancel on time because I thought you were going to let it sail, but I got forward a bit too much.
Dive kick.
Oh,
Whoa.
yep, okay. That's a little weird.
Yeah, I think you let go right before you're about to hit me too.
Round 9. Dive kick.
Oh, yeah, very good. Okay.
Assurance
Getting a little
wins.
greedy there with the trying to cross up.
I was actually just moving forward as usual. I just happened to hit you as you're coming in. That shows you're always taking a look like to get a step a little bit so that your vertical jump can get above pass.
Round 1.
Because the further away you attack, you have that like downward angle.
Oh, okay, this could be bad. So this could be a good chance to to show headshot shitting, but I'll try my best to avert that.
There's one. See if I can continue.
Round 3. Dive kick.
Foot sandwich.
Merit here.
Yeah, you definitely don't want to back into the corner.
Round 4. Dive kick.
Robotics.
Now the kick factor is going to make it even tougher to dodge now. But I only need one more hit now, so.
Fraud detection warning.
Round 5. Dive kick.
And that just kind of happens when you've got the best headshot
Fraud detected.
character in the game versus someone who only has vertical jumps, like their retreat option isn't that retreating.
You know, and it's not impossible to escape, but you just, it feels bad as bad. And when Shoals gets asked to kick factor in the middle of that, she has those much quicker second kicks.
Yeah, she
so
loses.
that can make it harder to
She loses her startup, so the kicks come out faster for both her first and her second kick. So like her ground, like the way she approaches is a lot cleaner and faster. And when she aims that headshot, she doesn't have to do like an ahead time. She can just wait till last second to hit the button. All right, let's go to the other extreme. Do you want to do Kung or Gat?
Yeah, I mean, either of those would be good. They're both at least clearly in Baz's favor, so.
I think we did a previous one with Kung.
Don't think you can just
So let's just show the Gat one.
rain.
There are options with Kung, and we do get to see Kung a lot in tournaments. So I'm gonna try to bring out Johnny today,
I hate this guy.
or maybe some Kick too, because Kick isn't as bad. He's still pretty bad because he doesn't have as much jumping, but I think his tools are better than Johnny Gat's tools. I think you always want to go dive gem because you want to get above Baz, but Johnny Gat's like his kick's really low, and it makes it so that all his attacks end up being low. And we said earlier that, you know, when you want to attack
You can see it
Baz,
right
you want
here,
high
actually.
attacks. Yeah,
Like you can see how low his foot extends out. It's just not a very anti-Baz kick.
yeah.
Round
I do
Well,
like
you
his
got to
kick.
show-
dive kick.
We got to show headshot Jinx situation with Shoals, so small victories. It is a relevant thing to bring up.
All right, so here I'm just trying to play low because I can't play high, and so I have to commit to the under game.
Oops, so.
There's an example of Johnny Gat's kickback doing decent work,
Round 3. Dive kick.
and the unreliable tool, the kick factor. Ooh, nice. So Kickfactor allows Johnny's partner to kind of come onto the screen with a gun, and she shoots these dubstep bullets that can mess up the buttons of the Baz, which obviously I can't catch that, which switch up his buttons for a full second. And we said earlier how the Baz has pressed so many buttons it can be an issue, but air special is still just 2 buttons, so if he ever wants to do air special, he won't be confused by it.
Round 6.
Yeah, I should not be jumping up. I should always focus on ground attacks.
Granted, I waited pretty low there, but Baz can still delay.
Yeah.
Eat this. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Eat this.
Oh, whoops.
That's probably because of the switch you didn't cancel.
The Baz wins.
I put in a cheeky car there just because I had a little bit meter left on my kick factor.
And if I had double kicked meter milled, maybe I could have gone into it. So
Yeah.
sometimes the car can catch people off guard. That's true.
Sometimes people forget about the car and they're like, wait a minute, that's a thing. I forgot. I like to do it when they jump high because then it's off screen.
Oh, right.
Wish I stood up a little straighter. I would have avoided the lighting there.
Working his posture, right? Nope. I think it's safe to build, right? Nope.
Shiny Cat does have some good ground game. Just most of the time it's really hard to time though. Trying to get that in. Nice.
Well, I'm just gonna show it, Oh, right. I must hit a bullet right as I did that. I thought I was dismounting.
Round 4.
Is there one more bullet? Nope.
Nope. Ooh. I think if I had no, actually I might have been still too slow. Trying to get to kicking them before the landing came out.
So that's a little risky because you don't want to get tagged by the kick before it lands, but I think I was far enough behind.
Yeah.
Oh, that was that was dicey.
Oh, I totally thought you didn't have meter for that. I guess you built it on the 2 kicks.
And yeah, as bad as always want to pay attention to meter.
Oh, I read it, but my angle jump was not great.
Yeah, you won't necessarily know which way you'll be facing
Yeah.
once Baz lands, and that can be tricky.
So this is where I think it's like I originally had Gat kind of above Kong, but these close situations where you try to kick and you're like next to him, your outstretched foot is so outstretched that you see past him, and like that's something that's like coming out more and more as we play this.
He can also be susceptible to some very low to the ground close quarters lightnings. In addition, because of that,
Yeah.
like he has to get higher in order for his kick to have more airtime.
Lucky shot. Round 2.
Nice.
Ooh, had enough for 2 after the
Yeah,
kicks.
I know. Very close. I think I was exactly on meter.
It is difficult for that to prevent guys from kind of flinging us up to the side like that. It's kind of an issue that most low jumping characters have an issue with it.
Yeah, I think Kong has the Oops. Kong has the chase speed though when she has kick factor.
That's true, because she has that more like shallow kick angle.
Yeah. Much more horizontal.
Oh, it's a good way to show. Gat can do those toe taps, so you have to be careful about that.
They're very risky though.
Oh,
That's her
that was gonna
lightning.
work. Whoa.
Tried to get the backwards car, did not happen. Oh!
Oh, right. I forgot about, I should have been looking at the time there.
Yeah.
It's so easy to try to get those corner plays correct that you forget about the other possibility.
Lucky shot.
Round 7.
I had to be cheeky at least once. Oh, whoops. Oh, that must have happened during the freeze. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. The slight button press. Oh.
Oh, I should have that sailed. Okay.
Round 9. Divekick.
Oh.
Headshot.
Oh.
Oh, stopped myself just in time.
Wins.
Nice sweep. See,
So,
no
yeah, if we're not-
suggestions. Yeah,
So
that was
if-
three.
if
That
I-
was 3-0.
So if we're not discussing the match at the same time, I'll probably be a bit more focused on paying attention to like the button reversals. But I think for Baz it is somewhat learnable, especially because you can jump above the stream.
Mhm.
And so if you just pay attention to whether that icon's above you, you can you can usually make fairly safe maneuvers. You do have to be more careful when you're landing, though. You might hit something right before you
Select
do your next input.
character. Act like you
So the
know.
reason I picked using Kickfactor as Gat is just because the rest of his tools don't really do that well. When you're talking about car, the Baz has the late jump, so he can stay above the car. I mean, even if he makes a bad jump, he can adjust it, his landing. And air special with the grab gun, it doesn't affect
I'll
Baz that
enjoy
much
raiding
because
on
Baz
Counterplay.
has very good
Select
maneuverability. He can stay away from it,
choice.
or even when he's near it, he can delay himself in the air. So it's tough to use any of Gat's specials. So that leaves only Kickfactor, and it while it does have a positive, it's not that positive. So, but it's really the only option.
But it's better than wasting meter in something that's probably not going to work.
Select
So at least you get
your
something that sometimes can have an effect. So I do get it.
There is a cost to using GAT specials because every time you use GAT specials, you commit to a jump. That's an empty jump without doing anything because you can't kick out of air gun and you can't kick out of dodging your own car. So you have to find time, and that's just too much time. Like you want to be pressuring Baz and not like just doing an empty jump for a very low probability effect.
Yeah, he gets very animation locked.
Yes.
Yes, from above.
All right. Hopefully, Kick has a little bit more options with his better kick factor and setting up parties. No air
Oh, I got my
special.
other building.
Yeah.
Round 2.
Oh no. I was supposed to be a new angle. I just forgot to press both buttons.
Oh,
It was gonna be extra fast.
Double kill.
And this is kind of the bane of Kick. Is he is pretty easy to headshot chain.
Round 4. Dive kick.
All right, I'll take it.
yep. I was thinking that second kick might have gone a bit too high. So in those cases, you can always just close that with an air special. Oops.
Icy stars.
Sometimes I want to punish Kick when he's trying to go low, but if you kick past too far, then it can be dangerous.
Oh, I thought I had that time.
It was a good idea. Like,
7 dive kicks.
yeah, it's fascinating.
That's pretty
It's fascinating without kick factor, but
I was a little far away to punish that, but just using the rest of my kick factor.
yeah, at closer range, there's more of a mix-up there. You do want to be careful about that as bad as when you're landing. If you see Kick just kind of like standing there, they might be trying to set up for that.
Yeah, definitely.
So be careful about how close to him you land in those situations.
Yes, from above.
I would say it's really hard to punish even if you hit it, but it definitely messes up their rhythm.
Whoops. Oh.
You did have meter for it.
Round 2. Dive kick.
Oh, nice. Yeah, that's the one thing I don't like about Party Starter is it still allows other characters to do their specials. Oh, I was like, that was a bad jump. I need to get out of it. Was not fast enough though.
Round 4. Dive kick.
Oh, messed that one up.
Round 5. Dive kick.
Oh yeah, I must have messed up the reversal on that one.
Yeah, you kicked the wrong way. I was able to just adjust. Oh, okay. I got a little too close.
Yep. Never get too deep.
Round 7. Dive kick. Black ball.
Oh, it's good, yeah. It does let you get those toe taps.
Round 8. Dive kick.
Yeah. Oh. Ooh. No, not able to. I was hoping my quick kick would catch your lightning.
It can definitely kick, yeah.
Oh. I'm always too anxious. I see the lightning, I'm like, just wait, and then I'm like, go, and I'm like, nope, too early.
Yeah, I mean, it's tricky because you don't know what the angle is going to be, you know? So do you stand or do you go for the punish?
Oh no, I wasn't going for the punish there. I'm just saying, I see that you're gonna run, and I'm just anxious to chase you after it's done.
Oh, got it. So
That
you're
I'm
trying to do
time-
it as early as
yeah.
possible.
I'm trying to do it as quickly as possible, and I just go way too early. I just have to be patient. Let's give you the space.
Round 1. Dive kick.
But as you can tell, I mean, this is a lot more competitive than Gat. Just because Kick has his new angle, his tools, and his kick factor is actually decent. I haven't been using it, but
His specials are better, his kick factor is good. His kick is... Oops.
oh,
His kick is better angled. You know, stuff like that. Oh,
Cold reception.
probably should have lightning there.
yeah.
Round 3. Dive kick. Hurry up.
Oops.
My life is
I was betting on the flash, messing up your buttons there.
round.
Yes, I did not dismount.
Dive kick.
Oh no. I was expecting that to come, but after a significant kickback. Oops. There it is.
Oh, so there we see, yeah, you can actually get Baz before the lightning comes out.
Round 6. Dive kick.
Oh no. I went for the headshot on that one. Ooh. I think if I kicked just before you reached me, I would have been able to hit the overlap.
7. Dive kick.
Yep.
Oh, I thought that was a headshot. Very close matches here.
Round 8. Dive kick.
No.
The one situation you really don't want to be in, yeah.
Yeah, I got a little greedy on the jump, but I should know that I'm not jumping over you until you get lower.
Double kill.
Oh, waiting for the lightning.
The wins.
Nice closeout.
Ooh.
So even though that's you can see that's Baz definitely has the advantage, but there's a lot of things you can do as Kick with his speed and both his specials. I don't think Party Starter is that great of an option. I think New Angle and Kick Factor are definitely better, but you can use it from time to time just to mess things up. If the Baz isn't responding when he gets popped up a lot, then maybe it's something you want to leverage more. So just something to throw out there.
Yep. Probably better at closer range in generally, but yeah, it's I wouldn't say never use it. It's it's kind of the same as with any tool. If you never use it, then they'll never respect it.
To your character.
We've had a bit of time here. It's already 7:40. I'd still like to go further, but I understand that you may have other obligations, and I just want to make sure that you're still okay on time here.
I think, yeah, I can still do at least a couple more, I think. There's probably a couple more we should cover anyway.
I'm thinking Redacted might be good here.
Oh, yes.
On your parade.
Zurich to your
So
breed.
this is the one matchup where I don't think Dive Jam really does that much for Baz. I'm actually going to go Kick here. You don't get that many matchups where one character's standard kick is borderline non-functional against the other, but this is one of those matchups, and it's a big reason, not the only reason, but a big reason why I consider it Baz's weakest matchup.
Zurich to your duds.
Baz does have one of those kicks that has acceleration, so it starts off slow, and so it's really hard to react to what Redacted's doing because she has such a fast, deep kick.
Mhm.
And even if you try to position one to hit her low, she has feral stance, and it's pretty difficult for Baz to hit feral stance with a rope kick. It's not impossible, but
It's just
it
hard.
usually involves enough rope charge that Redacted can just
From above.
react anyway with the dive kick. So
Round.
Yeah. I think I said earlier, like the best characters against Baz are the ones that can deal with a long swing, and she could do this to deal with a long swing, and the ones that jump high, because obviously getting above Baz is the key. So Redacted, I feel,
really- yeah.
is positioned. There's still a lot of options that Baz has, it's just that the
I think
The-
once
the-
Baz has meter, he has some responses. But,
Exactly.
well, go on.
Round.
no, go ahead.
See.
Okay. Ooh, just missed that one.
Oh. I should have ducked there. I was like, the lightning's coming. I don't think it's gonna hit me, but I was wrong. I should have KK'd.
Fraud detection.
It's very common against Baz. Like, oh,
Fraud
I should have done that
detection
other
warning.
response. And then it doesn't
Should
work
have
the
done
next
that
time
other
too,
thing.
because it's the other setup. Oh boy.
Nice.
Detected.
Alright,
So
warm it up to
another
bucket.
reason that
Go ahead.
another reason I picked Kick Jam here is that there are situations where you want to cross over and above Redacted, as she's like kicking into a feral stance or something.
Mhm.
And if you're not swinging fast enough, she can use her goofy reverse jump to tag you in the back or in the head as you're trying to pass. And since Kick Jam makes you accelerate just a little bit more, it gives you a bit more of a window to escape. And every time you escape, you can build a bit more meter. and if you escape, you don't get headshots. So
Yeah.
Yes. From above. Round. One.
Cold reception.
definitely a matchup where as Baz, you want to get used to those input streams to build up meter quickly. And without clinking your aspect legs eventually, because you really don't want to waste those in this matchup.
Yeah,
Like,
meter
I'm
is so
even-
important that any loss is horrible.
So
Straight into lightning.
the lightning may have worked by itself, but sometimes you just want that extra insurance. Oh boy, yeah, that's.
Oh no.
I should have been anticipating that flash pause to come, but yeah, it just goes to. Okay, I'll
Hoping
definitely
for
take
that
that.
headshot.
Round. Six.
And yeah, it's a good demonstration of, even though I went into the ground with that kick while she was in feral, it was still a bit too far past, and then it's just an easy reverse kick punish.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
From above.
Once the Baz has lightning special, that's when you can start mixing up things against Redacted. So like building into it is pretty important, and just having it always like just as a threat. He doesn't have to spend it, but just having it changes the ways that Redacted can come in. I think once Redacted has Kickfactor, it's really scary because He gets above Baz really quick.
Round 4. Dive kick.
My life is static.
Oh, okay, Kickfactor coming up here, so I have to be careful with those flash pauses. I'm gonna do a KK, so that doesn't happen.
Oh, nice.
Round 6. Dive kick.
Oh, almost got that overlap. Okay.
Yeah, it's really tough to get that cross because whenever Redacted approaches, it's like a wall of feet. Oh no, duck.
Yep, you always want to land into Feral, I think, against Baz here.
8. Dive kick.
Nope. Short. I think that's one of the best moves, is getting that first kick bait into second kick. On
If you can get that, yeah, if you can get that second low kick like right before she lands, or at least before she can cancel her landing frames into Feral stance, then that's good. But it's just that Redacted has such a quick kick that trying to set that up on reaction is really hard.
Yes, from above.
It's usually more of a bait thing or a setup thing.
Round 1. Dive kick.
Oops. Meant to kick back there. It may not have mattered though.
Round 2. Dive kick.
Oh. I think I feraled a little too late there because I should have been facing the other way and I would have hit my back end.
Oh, got it. Oh, a bit too high in the angle there. Okay.
Round 4. Dive kick.
Oh no. A little low there.
Round 5. Dive kick.
There's the speed you're talking about. Sometimes if you get that extra speed, you can actually get past that.
Round 6. Dive kick.
It's more dangerous for guys to try to cross over low.
Oh no.
If you're higher up, even with a short swing on kick jam, I think you can pass safely.
7.
It's dicey
yeah.
though.
It depends on the swing momentum. If you get enough momentum, when you let go, you'll be fast enough moving across. But the lower you are, the less momentum you have because you just have a tighter swing.
Mhm. I think that was 2-0?
From above.
Yeah, 2-2.
Okay.
Round 1. Dive kick.
Oh, not close enough.
I guess it is the one thing Redacted has to watch out for, that he can put on the brakes and do that second kick low.
Yeah, what Redacted is looking is try to hit that foot before it gets canceled into the throw. Ooh, nice. I should be having faster, faster lower kicks, I think.
And back the other way. Oh,
no.
right.
Kickfactor has gotten you again.
Round 5. Dive kick.
Oh, I jumped so high.
Round 6. Dive kick.
Oh, no, that wasn't the right time. It is hard to outlast this too, because just of how
7.
quickly she can let you down.
Rejected again.
Well, you'll have your meter, you'll have your air special now, so. And Kickfactor's done.
8. Dive kick.
Ooh.
I was
close.
thinking maybe if, like, yeah, maybe the reverse jump would start in the right spot. Right, yeah, that was a bit too low and
Not enough momentum.
Yep. Okay, hopefully I showed a few of the things that Baz can do and see as me do there. It is tough for Baz though.
You said you had time for one more?
Yeah, I think so.
Who do you want to end on?
Oh, I don't know. I guess we could do the stream matchup.
Okay.
Select your character.
Time out.
I'm gonna kick up a storm.
There is one thing I do want to mention that now that I just thought of it is one particular matchup that I felt was
Select your duds.
favored against Baz, but after we found a bug, it moved into Baz's favor, and that's the Fencer matchup.
Oh, right. We should at least mention that before we close out.
Yeah, just Fencer has roll and a fast jump, so and his air dodge can sometimes dodge swing kicks, but and his sword is just good. Like it doesn't really hit it can't really hit Baz in the air, from jumping, but it can hit him on landing. And his kickback is really good for passing. But then we found out you can lightning his sword, even when he's not holding it, for kills. And so that moved it to, now he has to watch where his sword falls. And it's pretty bad. It's still not like 7-3 or anything like that, but it's more like a 6-4.
Hurry up.
Oh. Yeah, I should have just went into a kick.
Round 2. Dive kick.
I think I got a little too close there, but we'll see if I can get the spacing down. But Stream is upturned kick is kind of the bread and butter here, because it's hard to get hit by it, or it's hard to get hit when you're in it. And so if you can have that kick, you don't have to get as high, because you can always kick Baz from underneath. Let's see if I can show an example of that, but no need to give it to me easy though.
Round 6. Dive kick.
Oh, that was a bad response.
I believe Stream definitely has good offense here because of the kickback is very good. You can move away from things like that. If I did a jump up into kick, it would have been able to get me above if I actually reacted. But the fast kickback and the angle of his kick make Stream a decent character against the Baz. There was a nerf during the AE to AE plus patch where they took away some speed, and that affected this matchup pretty much, because when you're talking about steering your kick upwards, the more length you had on that, or the quicker you got that, the more dangerous it was to the Baz. And so he lost some of his teeth, but he still has some pretty good options.
In the old version of the game, or at least the version before this, Stream had better kick speed and meter building, but Baz also had more frequent access to his air special. So I feel like I might rate it around the same between last version of the game and this one, but for different reasons. The dynamics have changed.
I mean, that's only if you're not considering like PlayStation, if you're considering PC only, because the bug was only PC. Yeah.
Yes. I think in this matchup, Stream has an advantage for those air-to-air clashes because he can steer his kick into an angle that's hard for Baz to counter. So Baz is usually trying to avoid those interactions and, outlast the kicks or get behind Stream or something like that.
Yes, from above.
Let's see if I can get Stream to hit those mid aim kicks. See, just a little bit of extra distance would have been fine there.
and so yeah, that probably would have hit back in
the day.
Whoops! Oh, I shouldn't have. Yeah.
Round 3. Dive kick.
Ooh. I think you got it right above the kick.
Round 4.
It's a bit easier to do that against Stream because his kick is a bit slow.
That's a position you don't want to be in. The Stream can just, instead of kicking you, I'm just going to turn down to your head. Oh, okay, I messed up my head chain shot. My headshot chain there. I turned back to the ground would have been best on that last one. I gotta remember to hit so whenever you're Stream you hit the kickback, you have to hit jump to do the second jump, because your kickback and a kickback, it has to wait. Oops.
Wins.
I went to I went into the flame bait there. I was supposed to kick underneath you.
Yes, Stream understands the plinking pain that Baz has.
Yes.
Or S-kill, or, you know, any character with a double kick or jump.
This from above. Round 1. My magic.
Close enough that I couldn't get my steer in.
Round 2. Dive kick.
Ooh.
Yeah, Stream has a pretty long body, so...
Oh. That would have been a nice punish. Oh no. Just too low.
Perfecto. Round 4. Dive kick.
Yeah. I was thankfully able to escape in time, but that first response was a little mistimed, yeah.
Fraud detection warning.
Not looking
Fraud
good.
detection warning.
Round
I do like Stream's capability to defend here. I do want to try. Can we try one more? I just want to try the dive gem.
Oh, yeah, sure. So, I think Stream does have better, like, air-to-air control there, but it does reduce his kick speed even more. So,
Yeah.
It definitely has its own sets of pros and cons. Might be worth trying.
I know. I just haven't played any dive gem stream at all, so I'm like, I'm wondering what it adds to this and how much you lose on the kick speed front. Like, is it worth losing the kick speed? I wonder if it'll actually stop me from hitting into lightning at bad times too, because I'm so slow.
Oh, because it's even slower. Yeah,
Yeah.
The timing might be tighter for that, actually.
Round 1. Dive kick.
So maybe if you started the kick a bit earlier that one. I
Yeah.
forget what the exact spacing is here.
Headshot. Round 3. Dive kick.
Does feel really weird, but let's give it a shot.
Dive kick. Perfect.
I'm sure it feels more strange for this character than it does for others.
Fraud detection
Yeah, Stream is
warning.
definitely a character that took me a long time to get used to.
Dive kick. Headshot.
Oh no, that's bad.
Detection averted.
Round 6. Dive kick.
Cottage!
Round 7. Dive kick. Headshot.
Nope, that's bad.
Check it again!
Round 8. Dive kick.
Oh, I didn't hesitate. Did you see me like twitch a little bit?
I saw a little twitch, yeah.
Yeah. I was
think,
like, oh.
with-
Warning.
Round 9. Dive kick.
Oh no.
Jamming averted.
Had to get cheeky at the end there. It's alright though.
I think also if Stream's trying to retreat, his kickback gets a bit more height with dive gym, so it also makes me a bit less able to chase, I think.
Yeah, definitely.
This from above.
I always think that dive gem is definitely a little bit more defensive.
1. Dive kick. Round 2. Dive kick.
Oops. I did a half. I didn't go up. I didn't go low. I just went right in the middle.
Round 4. Dive kick.
Thought it was safely under that. A little too low though.
Round 5 dive kick.
Cold reception.
Round 6 dive kick.
Oh, didn't mean to do that, but I got a hit, so.
Round 7 dive kick.
Oh, that was weird.
Yeah, I kind of got stuck.
Oh, I was thinking about going low too. I'm glad I didn't.
Round 8 dive kick.
Oh, that was way too far away.
Round 9 dive kick.
I see stars.
The jumps are definitely helping me get above those low kicks, but you are throwing a lot of YOLO kicks in here.
True, true. I do think it helps them get above, and I think if that was kick jam, I may have actually
Caught me. Yeah.
caught before the kick came out.
Yes, from above. Round 1 dive kick.
Oh,
Oh, yeah, I keep on flicking those, but it gets hits, so I'll take it.
Round 2 dive kick. Round 3 dive kick.
ooh,
Oh, good
that's
patience
a,
there.
it's a bit of a bold fling.
4 dive kick.
Oh, okay. I should not be going for those. But that's a kick gem thing.
Round 5
Oh, yeah.
dive kick.
There's it. Getting that jump before the kickback.
Round 6 dive kick.
I see stars.
Oh, I probably should use ground special there. In
Yeah.
hindsight.
Round 7 dive kick.
Oh,
Oh, right.
Round 8 dive kick.
oh. I gotta be more decisive. It keeps changing my mind on the steer.
Round 9 dive kick.
Oh. I don't think you had any out there for that angle.
Yeah, a bit too close.
Wondering what's. I think it's just that extra little bit of height's been helping me a lot,
Round 1 dive kick.
especially
Yeah,
on the
that-
kickback. Commit to it. I'm sorry. I'm just mad at myself because I know that's a headshot if I knew it. Nice, nice. Yeah, if ever
Yeah,
I
I
turn
think you
up
get-
and I miss, it's bad for me.
Round 3 dive kick.
Oh. It's like, I don't know if that's high enough for me to hit. Oh, jeez. That was a weird interaction there. We both jumped in the same way, and I was like, I think I kicked right past you.
4 dive kick.
Oh, yeah, sure.
KO. Round 5 dive kick.
Oh.
It's odd that started so low since you have dive jump.
Gotta stop. That's a bad habit from kick jump.
That's the kick jam habit, yeah.
Yeah, because you can reach those.
The
Alright, 2-2.
wins.
I'm glad we explored the dive jump. It definitely feels a lot different, so.
Yeah, it does feel not like a completely different matchup, but I think the dynamics change
Yes,
Yeah.
from above.
because that high air to air isn't
Round
as safe for Baz.
one. Dive kick.
Ooh, a little bit longer. Felt the lightning was coming, just picked a little too early.
Two. Dive kick. In the
Oh,
sun.
nice.
Like I haven't used one of those in a while.
Round three. Dive kick. In the sun.
Oh, good. I was hoping you would go for like a meter build thing.
Yeah, yeah.
Got a little greedy there.
Four. Dive kick. Double kill.
Cold reception.
Round five. Dive kick.
Ooh, nice.
Round
Unfortunately, punching the foot does not work.
Oh no. All these low flame baits, gotta stop it.
seven. Dive kick. Perfecto. Round eight. Dive kick.
Oh wow. I'm pretty sure that hit you.
Hurry up.
Oh right. Yeah.
Wins.
It looked like you were gonna get me with the lightning, but I'm like, dude, there's a missile down there.
There's an assist right there. Yeah.
All right.
So that's a bit like the Shoals matchup actually. That there's room to pick either gem for the opposing character, but it changes what you're trying to do against Baz.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, I do think the Shoals matchup is harder for Baz, just because maybe it's because of Shoals' kick speed and angle, and her cancel ability. But I just think the pressure is there a little bit more than Streams'.
I think I tend to agree with you. I find them both having lots of options, but maybe because of the kick speed difference on stream, it might have taken away some of his chase games. Because I did see, like, even when I was on the kick jam, just a little bit more kick would have helped, like, in a lot of situations.
It's centimeter.
Yeah. But yeah, I think both of them they have the ability to kind of put Baz in positions where he's trying to aim a swing kick, and it's really hard to hit both stream and Shoals, and so it kind of forces him to, okay, well, I have to use my air special option, and I think aiming at stream is a lot easier than aiming at Shoals. Stream's a little bit wider, and it's a little bit slower, whereas Shoals is a little bit faster. So even hitting her with like your ground special is gonna be tough, while hitting stream with your ground special should be fairly easy because you'll see the kick coming from a mile away.
Right, and he can't like snap to a vertical position like Shoals can.
Yeah, and Shoals does have a much better headshot chain as well. Even though Streams is pretty good, I'd say Shoals still one-ups him.
Yeah, being concussed against Shoals it's painful.
I'm gonna say that as almost any character, you feel pretty bad. Like, oh no, Shoals has me concussed. It's a bad situation.
Yep. Did you want to cover the fencer matchup before we close up, since you mentioned it, or should we close here?
I don't want to take too much time. Maybe we can kind of just show the bug and then just end it at that. Unless you really
Sure,
want to
sure.
play the set.
Oh, it's not like I don't like really want to fight or anything, but we can at least show the wonky.
Your character.
They say a sword is an extension of yourself, and they took that literally for Divekick.
Up a storm.
Select your gems.
I want dive jump.
Select your duds.
I'm just gonna kind of show his movements real quick, just to give an idea of like, okay, this is what I think about Fencer without the bug, and then with the bug, it kind of brings down it just makes a lot of problems for him.
Mhm.
So first off, Fencer's jump is fast. Like, it's fast and high. Like, this is faster than Dive's jump. and then this is faster than Kick's kick. So the only problem is his ground movement sucks because he has this like high minimum kick. But against Baz, you don't have to worry about that because you can use oops. I need a show roll. You can use roll, and this is a good option against Baz's air options, and it gets you out of the way, and it's going to make it harder for Baz to actually aim the lightning as well. So this plus his air option to dodge, where he doesn't need meter for entities, always gives him a decent shot against Baz. And then when he gets his kick factor, Baz has a really hard time like defending. Like, he can't make a wall with the Baz. The Baz is good because he can keep away from you by flinging himself across the screen, but he can't stop you from going where you want to go either. And so when you get kick factor, it's fairly easy to just run off the screen. So I consider kick factor pretty much 90% chance you're going to win the round if you can trigger it. I mean, he might try to do like lightning to catch you, but even then, it's going to be somewhat easy to dodge. Now the problem is you can hit with swords. Sword's really good, and if you see Baz jump, you wait for his landing. Just hit him like that with the landing. And the bug that's the problem is that the Baz can hit this sword with his lightning. Go ahead and do it. And it'll kill Fencer. I'm pretty sure you guys are going to be like, that's broken. I'm like, yeah, it's pretty broken, but when you're dealing with a game that's not going to get an update, it's something you have to deal with. And so when you're throwing your sword, you have to be really conscious of where it is. Notice that when Baz did the ground special, he wasn't able to hit it because the lightning doesn't actually go underneath the ground. It's only the air special that can kind of hit it below the ground.
But that's only a 2D lightning, not a 3D lightning.
But that's not the only way. Can you jump away from my sword so I can grab it? The Baz can also lightning your sword out of the sky. Now, this would be hard to show, but I'm gonna go ahead and jump and throw. Can you try to hit it out of the sky?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
So let's just yep.
All right.
Oh,
okay.
Almost.
So this is very hard for the Baz to do, but it's something that can happen where he can hit the sword with lightning out of the air and it'll kill Fetzer. I don't really consider this as dangerous because most of the time when you're hitting Baz, you want to hit him low to the ground and not up in the air. But it is an option. It's an extra option that Baz can have. And the one on the ground is way more. It affects the matchup way more because when you throw your sword, you have to be really careful about where you put it. Alright, ready?
Yep.
Oh. Alright, that might be tough. You want to do the ground special one?
Oh, sure.
That might be better. Did I throw it? I did throw it.
Yep, it's just hard to see when it's off screen.
Yeah, I'll throw it a little lower. Like I said, these ones are harder to hit. Alright. Ready?
Yep.
Okay, that's way too low.
Oh, it's not a headshot.
So just in case I wanna point this out, it's the lightning that hits, not the shield. So you can hit through the Baz's electric shield, but if it hits the lightning that strikes him, that's the one that's the problem. Ooh, just a little late. Oops.
Oh, whoops. My
Trying
fault.
to
She
get
got out of
this.
the way.
I should just roll past you. My bad. Okay. Oh my gosh.
Maybe if you
Can't
do,
throw it high, I'm sorry.
maybe if you do a kickback and do it at the apex.
Okay. I have to wait for my. I'm gonna pull the. Okay. We're gonna do this. It's gonna happen. Okay, next round. It's gonna happen next round. We've done this in lab before, and it was pretty hard to do. So we said, you know, it's probably not a reliable thing. Ready?
Yep.
That was off screen, huh? Okay.
It can also be difficult because of the rotation of the sword.
Yeah, maybe
I don't know.
scoot forward a little bit.
I don't know if I'm standing when it turns vertically or. Oh wait, sorry.
Alright, ready?
Maybe something like this.
Yeah. Alright. Oh my gosh.
I think I timed it, but
I timed it wrong. Alright, one more time and then we'll give on this because I feel bad.
oh, that's fine.
It's possible.
From above.
I swear.
Round one.
Alright, ready?
Yep.
Nope,
Aw.
there, you're late, definitely late.
That was late, yeah. Oh right, I feel like you got the sword.
Late.
Oh, that was late too. Oh, you can tell my hands are getting tired.
Well, I don't want to hurt your hands. We can stop now if you want.
Oh no, they're not aching or anything. It's just All right.
Alright. There you
There
go.
we go.
Yay!
Small victories.
Yeah, so that I would say like him countering the sword isn't much of an issue just because you saw how hard it was to do. But
Wait, did the sword keep on going after I struck it? I guess it did.
yeah, it just keeps
Okay.
moving. You just hit it. It doesn't knock it out of the air or anything. The problem is when you're throwing your sword, you have to be really wary about where it lands. And if it ever lands in front of Baz and Baz has meter, it's a free round. And so it's not the end of the world, but it is something you have to watch out for. And so when you're using your sword against Baz, you have to be very conscious about where you put it. And if you don't have it in your hand, where is it, like, it's in a bad spot, you might want to prioritize grabbing it before he gets meter. I think that's all we wanted to go over as far as the sword. Can you, do you have meter for or ground special? We'll have you kill me with the sword overlapping, because that happens too. Not only when you throw it, but also when it's in your hand, you can lightning it. And I think that was the intended, whoops. I'm
You mean
gonna
with
wait.
ground special or air special?
With ground special. You can do it with both, ground special or air special. It's just hard to do it with, Alright, go ahead and do it. So I think this was the intended,
Fraud detected.
That does make more
functionality.
sense.
Like when you're holding it out, and if Baz can hit it with the lightning, you're still holding on to a metal object, so lightning hitting a metal object should theoretically kill you, and I think that was the intended implementation, except they might have left the hitboxes on while it was in other positions. Like when it was on the ground, they think, oh, we'll just put it underneath the ground so the ground special can't hit it, but then air special kind of like slips into the ground a little bit. So I don't know.
I guess Fencer is metal, or he has like he has a metal face covering.
If we're
And,
gonna
like,
do
bracers or
it
something?
lore, we'll just say the fencer is part of the sword is part of fencer. it's
Part of
it's like
Fencer and
it's like his hand.
and Fencer is like Metal Mario.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh, before we tie up, there's just one little thing I remembered I wanted to mention. We were talking about how the end of Baz's rope swing has like a leftward bias, so that might mean that like you
Yes.
hook a little bit. If you get that hook at the end, I think this is when you're facing right and you do a full swing. At the end, you'll hook a bit left, and this actually, I think, it might depend on how charged the rope is, but it actually makes you go a bit higher than your jump apex.
That's
Which
only
is-
going from left to right on a full swing. On the right to left, you don't get the hook. You get just like a drop off. I'll just go ahead and jump in. You can kind of run
Oh,
it.
yeah, sure.
This from above. Round one. Divekick.
So I'm going to go back as far as I can to show this.
Yeah, there's. Oh wait. You want to show the hook first? So this one
Oh,
won't be
wait.
a hook.
It just kind of ends, yeah. So actually,
This will
yeah,
be
this
the
is a
hook.
better fit.
Yeah, you see how it's like that circular motion, because you're going right and then it biases left on your fall, and then that happens whether you're kicking from the left or right. So when you do it from the left side and you're moving right, it looks like a little loop or hook.
I'll jump forward a little bit for a second, so we don't have the wall in the way. Okay, so
Hurry up.
just to demonstrate how high it goes if you do two of those. It's a very niche thing. I just wanted to mention it for completeness.
Yeah, it just goes over. I don't know if it's that much of a difference, but it is a little bit higher just because for him to go back to the left side, it like wraps him around a little bit. Yeah, you can even do like it. You can even do it with like a short.
Oh, sorry.
With a short kick, you'll still see it on the short kick. It just won't be as pronounced.
4 dive kick.
What I was trying to demonstrate there is that you can kind of fling past Fencer, and then
Oh, you
because
almost hit the sword. Yeah. You can hit the
Because
sword
when you-
here. There you go.
and that's like the one advantageous part of like when you dismount early, your facing doesn't change, so you can kind of fling past. And this could be useful if sword is in the corner,
Yeah.
because otherwise it can be hard to hit with the lightning unless it's like a really low one.
Yeah, it's
So,
still
yeah.
fairly hard to aim, but I'm sure if you had some practice, you probably can get it really well. But the good thing about Fencer is you're probably not going to be flinging past Fencer because his jump into kick is pretty fast.
6 dive kick.
And so he can still defend if it's behind him. The problem is if it's right in front of the Baz, he can just do that. So you want to be careful not to put it in front of the Baz. It
Just be
used to be,
careful.
I used to have this Fencer favored by just a slight bit, like maybe 5.5, like 5.5 to 4.5. And then as soon as I found this out, I'm like, okay, move it over 2 notches to 6.4 for Baz.
I guess maybe he might still have a slight advantage if Fencer's just really careful about where he has sword land. But yeah, it is a tool that Baz has.
Yeah, it's a very good tool. Like it limits one of Fencer's good like major tools. So I think that's enough of a shift to like, okay, this definitely moves into the other option. But I don't think it's as bad as say like, it's not as bad as like Jafali and Shoals. Like it definitely doesn't feel that bad. There's still a lot that you can do as Fencer because you have such roll is such a good option against that swing kick, and he can jump pretty high to contest Baz. And Kickfactor is always good, so you'll always get your rounds if you can build up to Kickfactor, which makes you pick meter gem. I don't know. I think I like dive gem though, just to compete on the height.
I do think you have to worry a little bit about ground special if you have kick factor. But that usually just means being patient and not kicking directly in.
I'm sorry, do you mean as Fencer?
Right, as Fencer, because if you're in kick factor and you're, I think Baz can kind of like back up, and if you're trying to roll past him, he can use shocker, or if you're trying to kick over him, he can use shocker. But
Oh.
but if you're being patient as Fencer, you can bait that out, or So I'm not saying it's like an answer to kick factor necessarily, but it is one thing as Fencer that you want to watch out for when you're
No.
trying to cross over at the end.
That's definitely a good call out. The problem, like ground special is a tool. It's just a very risky tool because the Baz can't do it as a parry, so he can't do it on reaction. He has to do it on a read, which
It is that startup.
which makes it like, okay, it's a tool, but it's a risky tool, and it is good to be aware of it if you are playing on the Fencer side to be like, maybe you want to wait it out and force him to use it and then cross him up. Okay, I think that's it then. Any last words?
Play the Baz. It can be intimidating, I know, because there's just so many buttons and not only so many buttons, but so many options that he has. So I understand the hesitance, but I think building up even just a moderate proficiency of playing the Baz can teach you so much about how to respond to what he does. So it's a good thing to aim to do, even if you're not planning on specializing as the Baz. It can give you good information for like tournament play, or even just casual play. If you're having a hard time trying to mentally juggle all of those options, all those interactions and situations.
I think that's great advice. I mean, if you ever have trouble against any character, not just the Baz, take walk a mile in their shoes, see how it feels, and you might learn a lot just by playing that role of being that enemy.
And if you play the Baz, then I can play the Baz mirror with you. So that's
That's the one thing we
I,
haven't gone over too much is the mirrors in these character discussion. Maybe next week we'll do it. I think next week we have we're gonna do Markman and Insomniac, so maybe as far as guest speaker goes. But yeah, you guys
that'd be
can tune in next week. No tournament right now until I find a weekend free. But if you do want to watch the highlights, you can check out our YouTube channel. Look for Divekick Infinite. You should be able to find it, or you can just join our Discord. Let me throw in a Discord invite into the chat in case anyone watches this later.
Yes, those are some entertaining highlights.
Yeah, there's some highlights on there, and if you want to get to our any other links, you can kind of just go to the Discord. The Discord pretty much has everything. It's where we set up our tournaments. It's where we look for matches. It's where we discuss characters. So, yeah, please join us there, and happy death kicking. Thanks again, Axem.
Oh yeah, for sure. Thanks for having me. Thanks for watching all.
All right, everyone have a good night. Take care.